Time to talk about the social economics of the Yugoslavia.
Oh. Giving this frog a hat and you stop me.
Yeah, it's 0.
Giving this
Yeah.
frog a hat.
Well, mega lol.
Wait, it's live, right?
Yeah, it is live.
Live.
Yes.
Why do you think we were posting our results earlier? Yes.
I got Semiramis. I got the
Martel got a
worst thing
frickin'
on the
double.
list.
Bob Sif got our got Okie.
I got Semiramis, that's it. I don't even know, is she even good?
No. Do you have Gray?
I have Gray in 100.
Then no.
You got fucking robbed, scrub.
Got mommy material.
Is she a new unit?
Yes.
Okay. There were worse results then.
What's up, Bob? Yes, my Gray is 120.
Oh, the technician can't upgrade the GP, huh?
Look, Gray MP2 outdamages Semiramis.
Yeah, but we get MP5 of her.
Exactly.
You win.
Why is there just a giant airship flying in midair across the open world?
Why not?
Because I feel like I'm missing something in the game right now.
It's just a Pridwin. You're off.
When was the last time you looked down?
I think you didn't you do that already?
Red Alert, Command and Conquer 4,
Oh.
Iberian Sun. Which one?
You did.
I thought you did.
It's the same as any RTS. Eventually,
you gotta
the
play
AI is going to cheat.
Renegades.
It's going to piss you off.
Renegade. Damn.
It also has a killer soundtrack, though.
Okay, let's not mess with the Imperials.
Oh, that's actually a good question.
But armor piercing rounds. Good. If I can manage to keep a good stock, I can survive longer.
Okay, clearly I cannot fight the Rebel Cap Imperials.
I think it was just PC.
I'm gonna get her done, and then I got to get me my GSSR.
Aw.
Better head off and get that old dusty trail. Yep.
Robert.
I can't fake the spit noise,
The spit shine the thing.
and I don't have something to spit in.
You mean like this?
Yes. Yeah, I heard the tink. Tui. Oh, Haktua.
Have fun, Tor.
Good evening, everybody. Greetings and salutation. Hey, people, Khadroth here. How's it going, everyone? Okay. Of course that just capped out. Of course it did. And data update. Alright, I just got the tweet out. Do me the favor, chat. Go give it some love. You guys know the drill by now. And we are going to do something. Where am I? What am I doing? Okay, I've done that, and that. I've done that. I think I've done everything. I think I'm ready to go. Okay. Hello, everyone. Oh, I guess technically I didn't get you guys today's sauce. Here it is. There it is for those of you guys on the Twitch side. Let me get you guys on the YouTube side. There you go. Hello, Tweldy. Got you guys pulled up. Good luck with GSSR. Thank you. Yeah, we got a lot to do today. We have a Van Gogh buff to talk about. We've got a GSSR to do. I've got AP to burn down. I've got Vritra to analyze, and then we're gonna play some hardcore WoW Classic. For those of you guys that, you know, I know you're probably like, oh, it's WoW. Blah, blah, blah. This is, first of all, WoW Classic, so it's the original OG WoW, not any of the new retail stuff. And two, it's hardcore, so if my character dies, I lose them. So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing. I've already leveled up a little bit in it. Don't die in Skull Rock. Listen, this is my first time ever even like playing hardcore, so I have no idea what to expect. If I end up like dying, I die, and it is what it is. But it's definitely something that I was like, man, I really want to see if I can do this. So I figured, why not? Well, so honor mode basically, yeah. But you know, unlike honor mode in Baldur's Gate 3, where you have an entire team, you don't have an entire team. In fact, playing with teammates may make it worse. So it's definitely going to be an interesting problem. You can expect to randomly space out and die because that's how it goes. No, I play mage. You can't space out. That's just not how that class works. You know what's great? When Scheherazade has a banner up and you don't roll that banner, so she spooks you in another banner. Yep, that sounds awesome. But I hope everyone's doing good today. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I'm at least nice and well rested. But yeah. Wait, Cat, your back is a non-VTuber. Sorry, it's been a while. Yeah, I mean, I still have the VTuber avatar. I'll probably still use it from time and time again. But I don't know why I've been on a real skin kick here for a little bit. So just expect me to like flip back and forth whenever I feel like it. I'm just gonna say everybody can get used to it. I don't care. Hardcore classic is watching a man get chased by mobs and die. It's safer to watch. Oh yeah, it absolutely is. Like, it's gonna be one of those things where if I die like many levels in, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's so much time wasted. But also at the same time, like the entertainment value will just be a thing. And you know, maybe I'll get the mods in on, you guys can take bets as to like when it is I'll actually die by. I'm playing Shaman on hardcore. Nice. Born again flesh tuber, yes. Okay, what are you hoping from GSSR? I don't know. We'll have to go over that. I haven't even looked at it really. Like I talked about it with you guys on stream, but I have not really thought about it. I think I have like something like a 50% chance of getting a USO. And I literally have every single unit on the GSSR, so there's going to be nothing new, and it's going to be like literally Russian roulette as to whether or not I get a USO or not. So it'll definitely be an interesting thing, but honestly, if I get a USO, it is what it is. At least it'll be one of the cheapest USOs I'll ever get, so I just figure whatever. You know, if I get spooked, I get spooked. I've got MP3 made alter, nice. You got a strong one if they ever do buffer again. Oh, there's not many stream snipers trying to kill CAD. I mean, hey, if they do, they do, right? Like, so for the at least the initial levels in WoW, you're not really likely to get killed because like you're kind of in your own starter zone, and I believe you have to flag for PvP. I don't know. I also don't know if the hardcore server is open PvP, but I'm going to assume that it is. I like, without even looking, I'm going to assume that members of the opposing faction can and will attack me. Because that's just basically how I had to play back in the day. It's not? Really? So wait, do I have to actually, like, flag? No PvP on hardcore. So you have to agree to duels, is what it is. Can anyone confirm that, just so I don't get one guide? I'm just legitimately curious if that's the case. NP2 Granddaddy, nice. Lemonade, thank you for the 33 months. Appreciate it. AFK, thank you for the 65. God damn. The Path of FGOnus, that's right. And King Gil, thank you for the 10. Mr. Lutzvane, thank you for the 72. Jesus Christ. But thank you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for the hype train as well. End up with MP2 Abigail? Yeah. So you can see I'm just kind of blitzing my AP here. We're trying to get it done ASAP. I did not really pop any apples today, so I'm not very much further on my 120 project. I think I'm about 115, 116 somewhere in there, but we're going to get her done basically for the end. Because my goal, and I'll probably, like in one of the subsequent days here, actually just pop some apples and grind. Because I'd like to get her to 120. And then basically from there kind of kickstart the progress of working on MHXA, because she'll be the next one. And so at that point, then I want to kind of go into the year strong and have as many embers as I can possibly have. I'm sure, you know, push comes to shove that I'll be able to use it, but I really want to take advantage of this 3 times rate here. There's a GSSR. There is a GSSR on an A. We had maintenance last night, and you guys have a new one. You have to have completed the Lost Belt 2. Sorry, not Lost Belt 2. The Lost Belt, aka Part 2. The Lost Belt Prologue. Okay, so if you've done the Lost Belt Prologue, you will have access to it. It is only 12 paid Saint Courts. So it's definitely pretty cheap, but it is not a, like, full-fledged, like, crazy GSSR. It's just certain units that are on it. 3 AM GSSR rolling with something? Yeah. Got wrong-bowed by OG Saber the roll before hitting pity for Musashi? Wow. I mean, hey, if you didn't have OG Saber, that's great. If it's you did have her, it maybe makes her stronger, but if that's a USO, that's definitely a feels bad, man. And thank you for the 100 bits, lore. Appreciate it. I got double homes from GSSR. I should have saved my St. Courts. It was a total waste. I mean, did you already have NP5 homes? Like, for 12 St. Courts, getting 2 homes, I don't think that's a bad deal. Like, I know a lot of people, like, don't think very highly of Holmes, but Holmes is still a very good unit in the right circumstances. He's a very fun unit to use as well. So I wouldn't look down upon that. I think, in all seriousness, and This is maybe a little bit of bias on my part, but I think one of the worst things you could probably pull on the entire banner is just Semiramis. And that has less to do with her character or anything like that, and more just to do with the fact that she's in a very bad spot at the moment, and JP still has not really given her the time of day. So still, even 2 years into the future, that unit will not pan out. So hopefully they actually do give her a buff sometime soon at this point. Semiramis and Maid Altar are the worst 2 hits on it. No, see, if you're saying Maid Altar is one of the worst hits on it, you're missing the forest for the trees, because Maid Altar still does a shit ton of damage. Semiramis, there's quite literally almost no reason to take her. Quite like the only thing that I can really think of would be the buff removal resistance, and that's still a stretch. At the end of the day, I would rather basically take just about any other AoE assassin than Semi. And like I said, it's terrible because I feel like Simi really needs the buff at this point. I feel like she is just not in a good spot, and that's completely a problem of the dev zone making. Got my first Musashi from GSSR. Nice. Also, doesn't Maid have a cooldown skill that alone makes her good? Yeah, so Maid Altar has reloading memes, and with reloading memes, she can basically still rival, units like Ozzy. I mean, you got a unit like Mabe out there with the male trait where, she can surpass her, but usually the list is pretty much down to Ozzy and Ozzy alone that can outdamage Maid Altar at the moment. I do believe that Maid Altar could use some love. I'm not going to try to sit here and toot her horn so much that everybody thinks that she's perfect, but I do think you could still do quite a bit of work with the Maid Altar. Kat, have you considered that she's hot and goth? No, that's what I'm saying. It's like it has nothing to do with the character. It's just my evaluation of the gameplay with her. I really feel bad for semi fans and stuff like that, because it's just they've just gotten utterly screwed over the years at this point. Outside of numbers, Maid Altar is also Maid Altar. That's true. And nothing in her kit does anything in poison. Yeah, I mean, she has poison in it, but it's not a big deal. Was going for Musashi on the GSSR, got MP2 Gramps, can't complain. That's a good pull. I mean, especially with how good Gramps has been over time. Just give me 1 second, chat. I don't know what happened with song request. Yeah, apparently now with the update to Nightbot, it has new UI, and I can actually go forward and backwards with songs. Now I can replay a song or go back if someone asks hey, what was that prior song? But I cannot seemingly auto skip something that refuses to play. So if there's a broken link or something like that, I have to go in there and manually skip it, which is kind of annoying. I mean, I should have a second copy of Ishtar in her banner, and now she's much better. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's certain units where, at NP1, they're still good, they're still usable, but that second copy really just helps them pop off a lot more, because it does feel like a good chunk of the game is designed to be, cleared basically with NP1, and then there is, the high-end content where you really feel that pressure for NP2 is there. Because it's not that you can do it at NP1, or rather that you can't. It's that usually the way to do it at NP1 is to either have a Grailed or Gold Foed variant of the unit, or basically to have just insane card luck. And that can happen, but depending on your mentality as a player, you may choose to do it or not, and say hey, I'm either going to go for the NP2, or I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to struggle bust it, and if it 4 turns, it 4 turns. So free-to-players are way more likely to do the latter. Whales are way more likely to do the former. And that's kind of why they do it. It's basically to incentivize people to roll. But the reality is still, the majority of content in the game can be done just at MP1. I wanted Arthur so badly, but getting somebody new still makes me happy. Yeah, as long as you guys get something new, I wouldn't be too upset about it. Even if you guys get Simi, right? If it's your first time getting Simi, there's at least a strengthening you can do for her, and basically, you got that additional capability of bonding another unit and completing milestones with it. I gave Gogh all my faux pas for her cards. That's a good idea. She's definitely a very hard carding unit. We're going to talk about her buff here in a second because I don't have to do like numbers analysis for that or anything like that. But yeah, it's pretty nutty. Like I'm really surprised that they gave her that upgrade. I took one look at it and I was like, well, that's stupid. Because so if you guys remember a couple days ago, I mentioned the fact that we knew that there was probably one more buff coming at least because we had seen it in the code. And it was something where it's like, well, just because it's out there in the code, if it's not released into the game, I don't really want to talk too much about it. So I let you guys know that, like, yes, there was a possibility that this was going to happen, but I didn't want to say anything specific because that's how, you know, like we've had numerous like data mines before that just never ended up actually being a thing. And so it can be dangerous to talk about that sort of stuff when it's just unreleased because you'll just end up making a fool of yourself. So usually I tell people like, hey, let's not talk about it, not until it's actually a full-fledged thing. But that was the buff. It was the Van Gogh carding buff. So we were like looking at that. I was like, man, if they do that, that's just really freaking strong. And they did it. And I'm kind of like, wow, that's okay. Like Van Gogh was already considered to be like niche, but very good at what she did. And then you give her that and it's like, oh, wow, that's just going to do it even harder now. Hoping for second copy of Hassan, Hijikata, or MHXA. Got none of those. Oof. Got Sigurd, at least it's new. Yeah, exactly. Sigurd's got some really good crit damage and just hits like a Mack truck. NP damage is a little bit left to be desired, but still really good. What's up, Pion? Main first copy of King Hassan, and then 1 second later, I got the second copy. Sad thing is, I can't even max ascend him because I'm lacking chains. Yeah, there was a period in time on JP where I was really like chain hurt. Why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. And it just like basically ended up in a scenario where I just had to kind of struggle bust it for a while, and then they finally gave us a lotto with chains, and I think that may have been the first lotto that I did 500 boxes on JP. You said, no, I want enough chains that this is not going to be a problem again. Got a second Hoku? I mean, Hoku's good. I know a lot of people have like mixed feelings about Hoku due to the way that she launched on an A, and like people were like, what do you mean she's not a looper? Because people had been looking at like JP ahead of time. But Hoku is still a very good unit, and she's still very capable. I still really like her in a challenge environment, especially. She gets the opportunity to really stack those defense downs and stuff. But yeah, it's a thing. I'm ready to crush people with Ivan thighs. I see. You're an Ivanhoe. I mean, all the foreigners that actually needed a buff, SMH. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Like, I'm not going to say that they can't do the buff to Van Gogh. She's definitely a strong unit. She was strong before the buff. She's even stronger after. But again, this sort of thing, that's why, like I say, like, sometimes the devs do things we don't expect, and sometimes they just kind of can see the writing on the wall ahead of us. So you never really know why they're doing things. I'm just going to say at the end of the day, it doesn't break Van Gogh. It doesn't like actually make it to the point where, you know, she's just this unstoppable juggernaut or something like that. It just makes her already fairly good card performance even more stellar. But yeah, I think it's like it's an okay buff in the grand scheme of things. If she doesn't work in the fight, she doesn't work in the fight, and that's not going to really change that. But if she does work, then that's really going to just make her shit on things. They got Kiara and Hokusai. Nice. The perfect event to give Go a buff. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's like, you look at circumstances like that and you're like, okay, they've said that this is going to be a thing that they're going to do before now. So I just always assume that that's like what it is. They're just doing it because they know if they don't, they won't get another opportunity anytime soon. And I think that's a good mentality to have. My only question in all of this has ever been, you know, like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you do it at like other times, right? My Asterios buff already? I think they're worried about Asterios in the sense that, like, he's not really that meta, but Asterios is still very strong at what he does. And I think they're probably worried that if they mess with that too much, they'll end up creating some sort of like very, very like insane comp. NP2 Scotty Copium. I mean, hey, like NP2 Scotty, if we ever have like a better support setup for Quick, that's gonna like fucking hit hard because her NP is actually quite good now for offensive purposes. Still a little bit suspect for defensive purposes, but yeah, no, I mean, I think if you have multiple NP levels of her, it's just gonna be nice because it's just gonna scale better. So if there is actually in the future an easier way for her to get to her NP, it's gonna be great for you. But that is a big if right now. Kitsune, thank you for the 43. Hope you're doing good today, bud. Yeah, apparently I was capped out on JP. This has been my problem on JP lately. I'm filtering to only MLB Silver and MLB Gold now because those are the two that I actually need. And there's just not that many people that have it. So I sometimes end up having to refresh for a bit until I actually get someone. I got male Arthur and Ivan. Hey, Ivan especially is really good. Like Arthur, I'm telling you, chat, one day Arthur is really gonna pop off. That day might not be today, but one day. He still needs that MP interlude, but this recent buff that he got on JP at least helped him quite a bit. Seal looks fun to use. There's a little bit of like front end figuring out how to use her a little bit, but yeah, she's definitely a cool unit. Like I've told people before, because you know, I've had this dispute with people about like, oh well, she's not gonna actually be viable. Like there's no way you're just gonna sit here carding all the time, and I'm like, okay. Like I meant when I said when I reviewed her, I told you guys she was actually really strong. And you know, again, it's not necessarily game breaking, but this does really upset the like whole like carding balance situation that units have. She's just really, really stellar at it. MLB Gold and 2 of the MLB Damage C. Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking the Damage C right now because there's no point. I have so much of the Damage C myself, and I have to run it because I don't have any of the other Cs. Buff Arthur so we can buff Artoria again, Nodders. I mean, that may be like, again, we all know that they kind of leaked a supposed like buff for Artoria's first skill. So we'll see whether or not that actually ever ends up coming true. But I wouldn't hate it. And, you know, based off the icon, since it was yet another mana burst icon, I suspect it probably adds a like a multi-turn duration buster up. Because you have 3 turns of attack up, so it's probably going to add a multi-turn buster up to it as well. So that way she actually has a stacking steroid, because otherwise every other part of her kit is like 1 turn only. So I think that's kind of what they're doing. Actually, chat, did I do the CQ on JP? Like was there a CQ? I think so. Where was it? You showed us having no marks on the map? Yeah, that's what I remember too. Oh my god. Not now. Yeah, I have nothing. So I guess I did it. I'll just have to trust the map. I don't know. Floor 4, I think. Was it floor 4? This? Wait, this was a CQ? I think I like just did this off stream and didn't even realize it. Like I didn't even like it was not hard either. Oops. Yeah, chat, you didn't miss much. I totally forgot that was a thing. I had that thought there where I was like, wait, I don't remember actually doing a CQ. And it's because in my mind I hadn't. It was just yet another 5 AP quest. For once the devs didn't try to sink us. Yeah, like I just kind of kept like going through and doing all the 5 AP stuff because I was like, oh man, I got so many of these I gotta mop up. And I just didn't even realize. It's just kind of funny, but I swear not rolling is so hard. Well, what, on the GSSR or just like not rolling in general? When the hell are they going to buff my favorite units? What the fuck? Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that think that way nowadays. Like you're not alone. I'm not trying to say like you're a crazy person or anything like that. I think like a lot of people are beginning to get disgruntled over the overall state of units in the game. And like I kind of saw like Andre posted a meme the other day and it was like basically 2 hallways and it was what, like Fate Strange, Fake, and Tsukihime, and like you could choose which hallway you wanted to go down, and as you went down the hallway you realized it was just like 3 more years of unending LB6 discourse. And it was like, the FGO community or the Fate community. And I'm like, yeah. It's like that is how it feels at this point. Everything just keeps going back to LB6. And it's like, I love LB6, but goddamn, come on. Oh, that's not bueno. Well, arts is one of the things that might kill. I don't think it will, but it might. I at least have double steroid for it. Figured, what's the harm in letting it play out and seeing if we actually do kill? Oh, it'll kill. Sweet. Oh, just barely, but it did. God damn. I don't need triple buster. Wow. That was spicy though. I need to not do that again because depending on the variance of card performance, that may or may not actually kill. I gotta save for Yorokone Shonen. When's the Kirei buff? I don't know. Kirei's a weird one. Like, I don't know that they ever need to really buff him, right? Like, because I feel like at least in his case, he's way more of a challenge unit. But I do feel like his damage could probably use some tweaking at this point. But that's just, again, there's just so much pressure exerted by Tiamat. So it's like, if you're an AoE alter ego, you just feel like you need to be doing more damage naturally. Trust Seal Senpai? Hey, I did, right? I gave her that chance. I sat there, I did some like quick head math, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I think I have a chance. I think we can do it. Yorokube Shonen. Okay. I liked LB6 at first, but then they beat the horse to death, and I hate LB6. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, right? Like, I would just say at the end of the day, it's not that like you hate it, you're tired of it is more what it is. And I kind of understand. Like, I again, I'm somebody that usually likes Arthurian lore and everything like that, and you know, obviously I would have some bias towards LB6, but like, if even I'm sitting here saying that like they're spending too long on it, that should kind of be your hint that like, yes, this is an actual issue. And I know people that disagree with me because they just like, Again, usually they have more of a dog in the fight than I do. They're like, oh man, I really freaking like, like Morgan or Barcast or Balbon, right? Or like any number of the other supporting characters. And so as a result, they just like they refuse to listen to everybody else saying like, hey, this is a little much, because they want to keep getting more attention for their favorite character. And I understand, right? In the same way that I've got Artoria as a favorite character and I love every single time she gets the spotlight, but other people are like, oh my god, can you stop? I don't have a problem with them continuing to do LB6 so long as they like spread it even and spend more time on other things. I think it's the fact that they have kept going back to it rather than necessarily like evolving it that's kind of my issue. They do kind of evolve some of the plot lines, but mostly from a character to character basis. Summer 6 Part 2 with Coral Aurora and Habitrot. Yeah. They have a whole lot of other roundtable nights they could introduce elsewhere, LB6 aside. Yeah. I honestly, I at least liked that the current, or sorry, not current, but most recent Lotto on an A was a, hey, we're gonna basically sit here and focus more on like Burrito Mart than anything else, because I think that's something that they actually needed to do. Let me re-up my stuff because I don't think I did it. Yep. The chat, I usually just pick the materials that I feel like I need the most. Totally up to you to determine how you want to handle these. So like, for instance, I'm doing eggs. I've got 6 accelerants. So let's re-up everything. And then of the ones remaining, I think I want to accelerate the spirit roots. I think I want to accelerate the metals. I think I want to accelerate the claw. And I guess the dust. I'll have one more left after that. Bones? I'm actually okay on bones at the moment on JP. I need dust more because, as Avalon has pointed out, like dust lottos are not a commonality, at least not right now. Okay, chat. Let's talk Burrito Mart buff. Sorry, not Burrito Mart buff. Van Gogh buff. My brain. Okay, which skill was it on? Yeah, this one. So, again, if you guys remember, Van Gogh is a very quick-centric challenge unit. She's a foreigner here. She's very crit-heavy. She's got a triple quick deck, and she has the whole gimmick of curses. So you can see her skill used to be increases one ally's attack for 3 turns, increase their critical star absorption for 3 turns, and then grant self buff on attack buff for 3 turns. Which is basically that it will remove the latest curse debuff when attacking with quick cards. And if you successfully remove the buff, has a chance to increase her own attack by 10% for 3 turns. And it's a 500% chance that's always going to happen. So again, basically 10% attack up for 3 turns every time she removes a curse debuff from herself. Now, this is really nice because, as you guys remember, Van Gogh also has the ability to inflict curse to the party and also to basically inflict curse and charge her own NP gauge per curse tax. This gives you a little bit of a choice for how to manipulate the curses, as you can kind of sit here and go like, hey, do I basically want to, use it basically for charge, or do I want to sit here and try to again like gain the charge on attack? And again, you don't really have to choose, you can kind of do both. But the big thing with her, if you guys will remember, is that she has a chance to stun from her terror debuff. Now you guys would have to tell me, because I actually have not used Van Gogh enough to really pay close attention, at least not in recent memory. But I can't remember whether or not terror buffs can stack. I do remember that at least per terror buff there is a restriction of 1 time stun, basically. So each time the terror procs, it has a chance to stun at the end of the turn, but it can only happen 1 time throughout the 3-turn duration. So if you can stack multiple terrors, then this means that you can get technically multiple chances at a stun off, which is definitely a nice thing. And looping her is going to be a lot easier now, because Van Gogh already had some really nice card performance. She had pretty good hit counts, not too bad of an NP gain rate. And then given the fact that you now have this, she now gets an upgrade that's going to basically, on top of giving her the 10% charge per turn, or sorry, 10% charge for 3 turns every time she removes her own curse buff, it's now also going to be charging her NP gauge by up to 20%. So remember, the key to keep in mind is this only works when she has quick cards. She does have 3 in her deck here, and only when she successfully removes a curse debuff from herself. Still, that being said, that is quite a bit of extra charge that she can kind of just gain on command, which is going to allow her at least to get back to probably 1 more NP, if not potentially multiple. So this is definitely a nice thing for her. Like I said, it's something where people probably look at it and they're like, oh, okay, that's good. Like that's a thing. I think in actual practice, this will be very strong, and it will be very apparent how strong it is the more you get to use her, because you're going to kind of just see her sitting there and popping off pretty regularly. Again, this skill is not on a very high cooldown either, so you can very quickly get back to it in a challenge environment, and it's going to just allow her to pretty much every 5 turns at minimum get to that NP. So it's definitely going to make her a little bit more consistent on that front and able to kind of keep applying pressure to the enemy. Not the real Brita Mart, just her daughter? Yeah, I'm aware. Making sure they make them away, I'm kind of slowing myself down because I don't trust myself to back and down them. You mean for like rolling? Yeah, I mean, I would definitely tell you, like, don't roll beyond your means and stuff. Definitely exercise patience. Unless I misunderstood. Oh, the free quest. Okay. Extra 6% NP every 3 turns if you always pick her quick cards. Yep. Yeah, that's just good. That's solid. That's like, I'm actually surprised they made it that strong. Usually when you see stuff like this, it might be like 10% charge. 20% is pretty hefty. I can't like sit here and argue, because again, she's a very quick centric unit that like quick units can certainly use the help in that regard, but Van Gogh I never felt like had bad card performance, so I was really surprised by this buff. I guess it kind of makes more sense to give her a skill upgrade rather than something with the NP, because her NP is already pretty darn strong. Do keep in mind it also increases the party's attack, so she's definitely getting quite a bit out of it. Did my 3 runs a day in Charlotte and got 4 times dust. I'm slowly getting there. Dust harder. I was thinking about seeing if I can grab Van Gogh on JP, but I feel like she'd be difficult to use on a new account. Not really. Like, Van Gogh is pretty self-sufficient on her own. You can definitely give her supports to really help her out. But the big thing with her, if you ask me, is probably going to be like having proper command codes and stuff. But that's just to kind of enhance her. Like, there's still a lot you can do just with sort of her base kit, because her base kit is just powerful. So as long as you have somebody supportive around her, you'll probably have some good capability. And again, there's always the potential to sit there and kind of maybe solo with her as well. Pretty awesome against Berserkers. She has saved me more than twice on heavy fights. Yep. And she's definitely a good, like, backline protector as well, as long as you're sure you're not going to get, like, insta-gibbed, because, again, she does have guts at least. She does have party-wide evasion, so as long as you're not dealing with somebody with, like, buff removal or, like, invuln pierce, you're probably going to be fine, at least for a little bit, at least for the short term. But, yeah, no, it's a good buff for Van Gogh. It definitely just makes her stronger and makes her more consistent, so I don't have a problem with it. I'm just surprised they actually went out and did it. Okay, so chat, there was also something else I worked on today. I kind of did this while I was at work and checking some returns, and I basically Wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. So you guys know we talked about doing like our own version of the Game Awards, and I thought about this, and I thought like, hey, let's not only come up with some new categories. So like I started with the Game Awards categories, and I removed some, I added some, I changed some, and then I decided, you know what, screw it, we'll just totally rename them all. So I came up with basically each new category here, and you guys can tell me what you think. And also, I'm curious if there's any that I don't mention that you guys think we should add. Let me know, because I'll probably get like some sort of form put out there for everybody to fill out. And if you guys feel like there's some other stuff that needs to be added, we can definitely do that. As an audible, maybe we should wait until the year's actually done. This is just the categories. Like, I have to prep all of this before the year is done. But yeah, no, I'm waiting until the year is actually done before we ever actually open up voting and stuff. Like, first we'll have to do the nominations, then we'll have to do the actual voting. So I predict that basically we're going to have a round of nominations, maybe even 2, to kind of weed things out. And then from there, we'll open it up to proper voting. So how's it going? Did I miss the GSSR? No, I'm about to do it. But I did want to go through this with you guys here real fast. So for Game of the Year, I came up with calling it New High Score. So each one's got a kind of witty one-liner. I'm not sure on this one, but we can kind of just rename it if we want. Basically, best direction is director on set. It's the game that showed outstanding direction and creative vision. Cool Story Bro is your best story, best narrative. In the Eye of the Beholder is going to be your best artwork, basically. That's going to be, again, like the game that you feel like looks the best or just has the best artistic style. Facing the Music is going to be your best score and or soundtrack. Calling an Audible is going to be your best overall audio design. And so you guys can give me feedback on this if you want, but the way I looked at it, the Game Awards only has one category for best performer. And I thought that was pretty lackluster. So I split it and I said, let's have a best performer for male and female. And this includes like voiceover mocap performances. So again, like this emphasis here is on the actor behind the role, who you guys really felt like did it best. And then I also have 3 categories here for best character. So again, the character that you feel like is the best male character for the year, character is the best female character for the year, and kind of an utter category here, which I called man's best friend, but it really can mean anything. And it could be basically anybody that doesn't fit into the male or female category. It could be an animal, a robot, you name it, some sort of sentient being of some sort. So again, I felt like that was at least being fair. And if you guys feel like that's too much or we don't need it, we can definitely tweak that and change that. Mad Scientist is going to be the best innovative game, the game that did like the most technically to like, you know, really come up with a new design and have like new features that have never before been seen. This is where like we had, you know, like games for impact and stuff like that I also removed. So instead of having games for impact, I called it Agent Provocateur. And I said it's awarded to the game that is thought-provoking or has profound narratives or themes, something that's really going to like make you think, right? Because you guys know I've been critical of that category because mostly it feels like it's just a social agenda category. They're really just trying to like push their own like opinions on you with it. Whereas I felt like we should open this category up to just any game that's kind of outside the mold that really makes you think. So an example from like the current year that I could think of that'd be nominated for something like this would be like Senua's Saga, right? Something that's like, hey, this actually like delves into it. And you guys can nominate stuff that would have otherwise been nominated under their games for impact category as well. It's just, to me, it felt like that was really all that ever got nominated was the DEI type of games and stuff. And I felt like that was such a how do I put this, like such a disservice overall to the games industry, and that it did not do a good job of actually like, you know, putting more of a an art form type game out there, something that's actually centered around trying to make the player think and, you know, question the bigger things in life and stuff like that. So I felt like that's actually going to be a decent change to it. But we'll see. If there's not enough nominations for such a category, that can be a thing as well. Would you like to continue is what I decided to call the best ongoing game. So this is going to be a little bit of a difficult one because what determines an ongoing game, I think, is really up to debate. But basically, the idea that I would like to think of is games that continue to support it themselves, like after they've already launched. So live service games are especially going to be in this category. Things like MMOs, things like, any sort of game that just has a very robust patch cycle, or even something that's maybe trying to like fix itself from a bad launch. So you could look at something like, say, No Man's Sky could have potentially gotten something like this in the year at least that it was launched, where it's like, hey, this is the best ongoing game. The game doesn't have to be from the current year for this category, as far as I'm concerned. Most of the other things I'd like to see, hey, this needs to be from the current year. But for best ongoing and continued development, I feel like we can open that up to multiple years, because it's kind of just who's doing a really good job this year type deal, regardless of when their game released. Esprit de Corps, we are going to say, is basically the best community award. Again, I look at this not as which gaming community is best. I look at this from the standpoint of like which developer is actually supporting their game community the best. An example that I would give you is last year it was absolutely unequivocally Baldur's Gate 3. They did an amazing job constantly like hammering out updates and interacting on social media and like keeping the vibe and the popularity of the game going. This year it certainly would have been Helldivers until they screwed the pooch, so now that one's a lot more up in the air. But, even in the case of something like Helldivers, they have at least tried to turn it around here recently, and they're doing good stuff again. So we'll see basically kind of where all this stuff shakes out. But again, you guys can nominate whatever you feel like is the best for this sort of thing. Declaration of Independence is basically the best indie game. It's going to be your game that's made outside of the traditional AAA publisher system. So I don't want to see something made by Sony. I don't want to see something made by Microsoft. Like, it's one thing to me if they maybe were an independent studio that's not owned by one of them, and yet they still get published by one of them. I think that's okay, but I think they need to not be a owned subsidiary or something like that. There's been a lot of debate and dispute over this the past couple of years, because we keep seeing for the Game Awards things get nominated that are not actually indies, like they're straight up owned. Whereas hilariously enough, Baldur's Gate 3 did not win the indie category last year, even though it actually is an indie game. It is a game developed by a developer that is not owned by any other publisher. So they had to publish it themselves. And it's really kind of weird, because I guess the people nominating stuff for this were like, oh, well, they're too big. They're nominated for so many other awards. We can't give it to them. And I'm like, no, they actually kind of deserved this one. What they pulled off was phenomenal in that regard. So again, I'll have to take a look at some of these. And again, when we start soliciting for nominations, I'm going to have to kind of go like, all right, how much do you guys really want certain things? And if I feel like there's a major push for a certain game, that can be a thing. But there may also be games that I have to go like, hey, no, sorry, that's not eligible, because upon review, we've looked at it. It's not an independent studio or something like that. But I'm way more likely to be a little bit forgiving on this category. On the Go is going to be the best mobile game released this year. This is not best mobile game overall. This is best mobile game released in the current year. This includes things like gacha games. I didn't want to have a best gacha game category. If you feel like we should split that out, that's fine. But I unfortunately feel like if we split out gacha games from the mobile game category, there will not be enough mobile games to nominate, or at least people will not know enough about them. So it's probably best to keep all that in there. Missing in Action is going to be the best action game, basically the best game that's action genre and focused specifically on combat and not other things. Not All Who Wander Are Lost is going to be the best game for the action adventure and puzzle solving genres. So again, this is going to be something like Legend of Zelda, for instance, would fall under this category and stuff like that. Basically, it's an action adventure game. It's not just action. It's not just a theme parky type situation. Neverending Journey is going to be for the best RPG genre game. This one, I have very strict rules on how I view RPGs, but I understand I'm more strict than the average person. So I'm going to leave this up to chat for nominees for this category. I'll probably consult with other people. If I feel like, something shouldn't be included, I'll ask for a second opinion. Because again, I know I'm biased on that one. So I'm not going to sit there and basically kind of just start carving out people that I feel like don't belong. Mano a Mano is going to be the best fighting game designed with head-to-head combat in mind. So again, we're talking Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, those types of games, basically. Keeping it in the family is the one that I said here for the best game for playing with family members of all ages. It's a little bit of a terrible one-liner for that one, but again, just a family-oriented game. This could be things like Mario Party and other stuff out there if you guys feel like that's a thing. 4D chess is going to be the best strategy or simulation-based game of the year. So I guess this could be things like Microsoft Flight Simulator and stuff. But again, there are at least several strategy games released this year. If you guys are unsure, because again, we'll probably put out a form for nominees. If you're unsure, you can always either leave it blank, or you can kind of go try to do the research on your own to see which one of the things that you think should be nominated. What about Pal World, for example? Monka, I think Monka, Pal World is probably going to be an action-adventure game. It's not going to be a, RPG. I don't really think it's going to be a pure action game either. So that's probably what I would rate it as. This sort of thing gets difficult because there's, open-world games, theme park games. There's any number of classifications. One of the ones that did get brought up, we do not have a horror game category. I'm not sure whether or not there is enough games to nominate for it this year. I know certainly Silent Hill would fall under that category, but it would probably just be a shoe-in to win the category, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I'm not sure kind of what to do about that one. If you guys feel like there's enough there to nominate, we can add it, and I can just leave this up to you guys to kind of determine what belongs. The Sporting Chance, this is the best, and so it's supposed to be the best racing and sport game. I extended this to hunting and fishing games, or really any game that you guys feel like fits that mold. Because I feel like this category was way too restrictive in the past, and it was just basically just a circle jerk for EA since they have so many of the sports titles. The most dangerous game is the category for best co-op or online multiplayer experience of the year. I need to put that in there. In fact, I will. There you go. And Across Worlds here is going to be awarded for the best adaptation of a video game to any other medium, be it TV, movie, board game, you name it. With Bated Breath is the game for which players are most excited to see releasing in the future. So again, you're most anticipated. Aggressive Expansion is going to be awarded for the DLC or expansion of the current year, the best one. Remaking Headlines is going to be awarded to the best remake of an old game released in the current year. Hard Hitting is going to be awarded to the game or DLC considered to be the hardest difficulty to complete released in the current year. The next one is going to be Task Failed Successfully. This is awarded to a game that defied players' lofty expectations and turned something into nothing. Basically, your most disappointing game of the year. And then Fatal Error is going to be awarded to the worst game of the current year. Whatever you guys feel like deserves that honor. I've also got Dump Truck here. This is going to be awarded to the character with the best ass minted in the current year. Completely Busted, which is going to be awarded to the character with the best chest produced in the current year. I would like to denote, none of these categories are restrictive to male or female. So you guys can choose whoever the hell you want to nominate. Body of Work here is going to be awarded to the character with the best overall body of the current year's releases. Again, you guys can meme that one to hell and back. I don't care. Medium Mayhem is going to be awarded to the game with the largest difference between journalistic and player perception. So I felt like this is a good category because there's been so many games out there where it's like the media ranks them highly and the community basically thinks they're terrible, or vice versa. The media thinks they're terrible and the community actually thinks they're amazing. And then Inception, I thought was an interesting category. So it's going to be the best mini game. It's awarded for the best game within a game released in the current year. And then finally, Masterclass, awarded to the best developer who released a game in the current year. I felt like if you were thinking like, hey, you know, maybe somebody else should have gotten it as best developer, that could have been a thing, but we might not need this category. I thought about including a best publisher, and then I was like, no, I don't really want to glorify the publishers. So I was kind of like, yeah, okay, let's you know, I'll see what people think on this. AKA Veilguard. I mean, I don't know that Veilguard necessarily takes the cake on that one. I feel like that one's up for debate, right? So like, that's going to be the thing. There's going to be things that come to people's mind. They're going to be like, oh, that one. But there may be multiple different things. And if we all get it laid out on paper, there may be a bunch. The question was for the indie category. Palworld's definitely an interesting one. I would call Palworld an indie. It's definitely being supported by both Sony and Microsoft, I believe, at this point. But I think you still have to call Palworld an indie because they still launched completely under their own power. Atlas had 3 bangers this year. Yeah, so like if you feel like there's a you know, like developer in particular that has like done outstanding work, not just with one game but multiple, that should be probably your consideration for something like best developer. Kat, I just got your notification on YouTube for live stream. That's wild, because I've been live for an hour on YouTube. Unless it like went down. Let me take a quick look here real fast. It looks like there's some jitteriness, so maybe that's why. But it seems like it's still fine. Also, song request ended again. But yeah, you guys got to let me know what you guys think. Best script writing line for a character. I feel like that's probably redundant with a character, right? Like with best character. But that's where I'm going to say again, like there's a lot of like character related awards in here this time. I maybe want to cut some of that down. So if you guys have particular thoughts about that, let me know. But yeah, no, I think this is a good start. Again, we have like, I have no idea how many. Let's see, 42, and then I start on 5. So what, like 37 categories here, basically. So we could probably whittle this down to at least like 35, maybe even 30. Or again, if you feel like that we should go bigger and not smaller, that's definitely something we can do. Best voiced line of the year. I mean, we basically have that because we have best male performance and female performance, and then we have best male and female character as well as best other character. So. But yeah, that's why, again, like, I'm just going to kind of leave this open, basically, for stuff. And again, if you guys want, I can put, like, what the actual category is over here instead of, like, you know, the meme name for it. Because I wanted to come up with some fun names for each section. But, and again, if you guys have suggestions on that, let me know in the CAD chat section of the Discord. But, yeah, I'll keep working on this. It's definitely going to be something that we're going to be doing on the side because I feel like it's a fun little project, right? Okay, chat, let's do the GSSR. Let me go back to NA here. Tenchi, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Just put the normal names in brackets behind the meme names. Yeah, we could do that. We could basically, I could be like, you know, director on set and then be like best direction, right? Like right underneath it in like brackets or something. I got no problem with that. What was I doing? Oh yeah, GSSR. Actually, do I have 12 paid Saint Courts on my NA? Looks like I might. I pray you don't get bricked by Simi. I mean, if I do, I do. Musashi buff on NA is out. You're talking about the 5th form buff? Okay, so it's just this. All right, so let's see here. So again, I talked about this the other day. But basically, I have NP5, NP1, NP1, NP5, 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 NP3, NP3, P2, NP2, NP1, NP5, NP2, NP1, NP1, NP like I think 3 here on melt, maybe 5, I don't know. NP5 and NP2. So yeah, I have pretty hefty odds of getting a USO. I literally have every single unit on this GSSR. So there will be no new units. So if you see loading, it's a lie. But yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting GSSR this time around. I don't know what to do about it. It just is what it is. Like I said before, my mentality on this is that if I get a USO, it's probably the cheapest USO I'll ever get. So I don't really care that much. It'll be maybe a little bit disappointing, but you know, there's also the alternate angle here of like coins and stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. This is sort of the issue with a potluck like this, with a relatively big like amount of results, and they're all older units, so I have a lot of them. It's just kind of naturally going to be this way. The whalier you are, the worse a GSSR is going to be for you. But I'm not too worried about it. I'll get what I'll get, and hopefully I get someone good. Out of all of these, probably some additional MP levels on some of the lower units might be nice, particularly with a couple here, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll be happy with my result. What's the target? I don't know that I have one. So, of course, I got Erish. Yeah, exactly. I got Malter. Nice. I got Arthur on mine. Was meh for my results. Well, like I said, hopefully at some point they buff Arthur, right? If I get more coins for a Saberface, I'm not going to complain, but I'm also, like, unfortunately, none of the 5 stars that are here, like, I don't think I really need any of the coins for them, so... Whale Archer here? Yeah. I have to ask a question. I've played for 3+ years, and I still haven't gotten a double 5-star multi. Is that normal? It depends. Like, if you're free to play the entire time, that could easily happen. If you're whalier, like, that'd probably be a little bit on the weird side if you haven't gotten it a single time. All right, gold orbs. Caster. You know, I'm actually not that upset about that. Obviously, I have her at MP5, but that definitely like makes the coin situation on her easy. So she'll now be an easy 120 for me. I'm not gonna have to like bond her all the way up for that, so I'm okay with that. Double SSR, let's go. Hey, maybe. It's been a while since I've seen a double myself, so. But yeah, USO. That unfortunately is a USO. But out of all the USOs I could get, that's not a bad one. Like I said, like, it a little bit I was sitting there thinking like her or Jarcher would have been potentially good ones for coins. So the fact that I actually got one of them, I'm okay with. Also, I'm sorry, chat. My nose keeps itching and I have no idea why. So if you see me like doing this over and over again, that's why. Actually, here. We got 2 SR during mine. They got my hopes up. Yeah, it happens. Like I said, I'm okay with that. That's at least spare coins. And it's also kind of a little bit revenge because Caster Umu did not treat me well on her initial rolls. So I'm okay with that. That makes that a little bit easier. As far as I'm concerned, that was about as best of a result as I could hope for. So I can't get too upset over that. I know that's not like, oh my god, CAD got something new, or like, wow, this is some amazing GSSR. It just I'm just like, yeah, I'm okay with that. That could have gone way worse. Way to roll for NP6, CAD. Yep. Oh god, I'm guilty. Oh no, I have to delete her. I'm sorry. MP1 Sherlock and MP4 Cast Nero. I mean, you got a double, and one of them's a new unit. I wouldn't say that's a disappointment at all. Like, I guess it depends on what you're trying to roll for, but... SMH, I know. There's more units in that GSSR that I don't want over the ones that I want, not gonna lie. Chat. So, hear me out. Every new unit you get is a good thing. Agree or disagree? Like, at least a new unit gives you, like, additional milestones, gives you, you know, upgrades and stuff you can do. And you never have to roll that unit should that unit become a unit that you do want in the future. Now, some people go like, oh, but I'll never change my mind. I'll never want this unit. And it's like, well, that may be the case. But, like, at least you have them. Oh, you got Mud Rain? Wow, nice. That's definitely a good pull. Any explanation on why you would disagree? Like I said, you know, some people may choose to, but it is what it is, right? Like I feel like in general, getting something new is usually a good thing. I think some people look at it from the standpoint of like, I don't want to have to waste resources on this, and I'm like, hear me out. Ascension mats, like actually used for Ascension, is nothing. It's nothing compared to skill materials. Like, your skill mats are like way worse. Ascension mats are like, oh no, took like 5-10 of them, whatever. So it's like, to me, I don't have a huge problem with doing that sort of stuff. Okay, chat. Now we're on to the Vritra. So I told you guys I was going to do the videos for Vritra and Santa Carna. Also, PSA here. This is Thanksgiving week for us here in the States. So like, it's a holiday week. You're going to see some people in and out because of that. For me personally, normally I go down to my sister's for Thanksgiving, so usually I'm not here. But we are having it at my parents' house this year because it's a nice like in between point for both my my brother and sister to come meet. But so as a result, I'll actually be in town. So I'm not gonna promise that I'll stream Thanksgiving night, but I will be here all the other days, so you're not missing any time for me. Thanksgiving night, I'll try to be live. It's just I may food coma on you guys. Like, and I feel like that's just a very like real possibility. Or again, I may just be like stuck hanging out with my family. So like it is the way it is. I'm just gonna say like that day's tentative, but the other days should be perfectly fine. Yeah, I never made a Vritra vid. I'm sorry about that. Like, I don't know why, but somehow, because I think it's like, oh, well, she came like to us at a time where there were a couple other units I had to cover, particularly I think on the JP side. And so I never ended up making a video for her because she was permanent. And I was like, oh man, I really needed to make one. And since she's coming back and getting another banner here, I figured let's go ahead, let's do another one, actually cover her. Gee, I wonder who we should use Ocean Flyer on, chat. I wonder. Arjuna? Yeah, we should definitely use it on Arjuna. Sorry, just looking some stuff over here real fast. And Vritra doesn't have Invuln Pierce, right? Memory serves, she does not. A skill seal instead. Let's see. What's a good Invuln Pierce? Something that we have recently here. I was gonna say it's technically under. I thought it was under the defensive category, but I wasn't sure. CRT unit grabs usual suspects. Yeah, I mean, like, and it really is. Like, it's difficult to do CE recommendations for arts units because they're just like, really, you just need to know what starting points they work from, and it's very, very easy to kind of guess. Yeah, the usual suspects here. I mean, I could grab knowing the way broadly, but don't think I have to. I will probably add another CE here. Fondant. Check. By the way, can anyone go run and go check real quick how expensive Fondant is? I don't remember if it's 5 per, if it's just 1 rare prism per. I want to say it's 1, but is it 5 per? Damn. Okay. It's one of the other expensive ones. I don't get to suggest it very often, so it's kind of why I'm going to here. Okay, I'm just double checking here to make sure I got everything. By the way, Avalon, are those new numbers for Brito? Yes, okay. Communist bloc. Okay. Yep. Yeah, Vitra's kind of sneaky good. It's one of the things that I've always really liked about her is her kit. And we'll talk about that as we get to doing the recording here. Let me check one more thing. Hey Avalon. I see at least one typo. Yeah, it's this is probably one that we should fix. I'm glad I checked right before. Because I would have gotten to that on stream and I would have been like, wait a minute. That might have caused me to just like reboot for a second. What's this goofy song? Oh, you've never heard We Didn't Start the Fire? Good old Billy Joel. It's basically a like analysis of like what was at the time in the 80s like modern politics and like the entire like political things that had like led up to the current day's politics at the time. But it was kind of just this idea that it's like, yeah, they didn't start the fire. Basically, in other words, like, it's not their fault. Everything was already, like, set in motion a long time ago. Again, they didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. It's a fun song. I like it. I'm too young to understand that. Honestly, it's kind of appropriate for today's day and age, right? Like, because you can kind of always apply that same concept. It's like all the things that are happening today are not specifically just our fault. It's like everything is just continuing on as it has been. And we're still feeling the effects of the politics now. Yeah, 100%. The premium support setup? Yeah, the whale one, right? School Rumble, I know this one, yeah. I'm just waiting for a second here, chat, as Avalon fixes one of the slides for me, because I can't show it to you guys without it causing immense confusion. If you can't badly sing along to the song, and it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. It's funny because, like, I'm not a fan of, like, Dave Matthews Band, but I always catch myself quoting the, what was it, the, Did I Do That, bullshit one. What was it? I'm trying to remember the song now that I'm, like, that's REM, but like I'm trying to remember what the Dave Matthews Band song is that I always end up quoting. And now for some reason I can't fucking remember it. Because I don't actually know the song. It's infamous and it lives in my head thanks to my brother. I'm not even 30 and I already feel like a grandpa listening to the classics. It is what it is. This is also because, like, the current generation tries to make everybody else feel super old. Whereas, like, I've just taken to the point of just being like, the current generation is a bunch of little shits. We can all get along, but it's like the more they sit there and like denigrate their elders, the more they're gonna get pushed back over the years. So, and then they're gonna be like, it's all you guys' fault. You guys are the reason. It's gonna be like, well, it's also because you were rude as fuck. I literally have all the world's music now streamable. That's true. Oh no, it's I'm guilty, or no, I did it, guilty as charged. It's a Dave Matthews Band song, but like I've never actually sat down and listened to the song. I can just sing that freaking line because my brother used to say it all the time. So whenever I take credit for something, I say, I did it, guilty as charged. Never heard that one, actually. Really? The current generation of I fear for the future? I feel like every generation we fear for our future, right? Okay, I'm going to assume Avalon's fixed it. Avalon hasn't fixed it. I'm terrified. Avalon, why is it not fixed? Oh no, okay, it is fixed. Never mind. I see it now. I think I had to like click into it before it would update. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. Okay. All right, chat, let's get this party started. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. YouTube said the song's called I Did It. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, right? Given the line. I did it, guilty as charged. Okay, let's get started. So, boom. Test the telestrator there. Hey guys, my name's Khadroth, and today I'm coming at you with a very late Vritra video. So it's not going to be late for us here on an A in the sense that she's going to be getting a banner here real soon with the Carnamas event. However, I never covered her originally when she came out on an A. This has just had to do with schedule conflicts and the fact that at the time there were a lot of JP units getting released. So given the fact that she's a permanent unit, I kind of put her a little bit lower on the pecking order in terms of priority, and I never really had circled back and gotten her. But now we're going to be covering her here because I feel like she will at least be a little bit relevant to you guys with the upcoming banner. Again, you guys can see permanent unit. There's no disclaimer here about her being limited in any sort. So Vritra is one of those units that can kind of always spook you. But it's still a good idea to kind of cover her to give you guys at least my 2 cents on how you guys can use her effectively and where she's strong at. Again, I do feel like Vritra is sort of caught in a weird situation. She is an AoE arts 5-star permanent lancer. So she's kind of caught in this weird situation between there being other welfares out there, other really like highly valued and highly beloved Lancer units. And again, you know, juggernauts out there like Roma and Melisson out there that can kind of just really pump out the damage nowadays. So Vitra's still in this just kind of weird spot. But still, her biggest thing and probably the best thing that's going to be serving her is not only her power mods, but also, again, just that fact that she is permanent. So you will be able to get spooked by her. You will be able to get potentially multiple copies over time. Or you can try to roll for her devotedly and beef her up. Again, a lot of people do like Vritra, so don't feel bad if you're one of those people. I'm not trying to make her sound like she's bad or anything like that. She's a very capable AoE Lancer. Let's go ahead and let's start out by talking about her kit here. Basically, her stats right here to begin with. So, as you guys can see, sorry, my telestrator's messing up a little bit. The attack stat here is at about 12.3k. This is definitely a very robust attack stat. This is very high. It's not like, you know, the highest in the game or anything like that, but this is a good attack stat. It's definitely something we like to see with the 5-star characters. It means that they will potentially card hard, both with their steroids active and without them active. So it's certainly a good thing. But the attack stat is not the end-all, be-all for overall damage output, as there's many factors that go into the calculation of damage. Her HP stat, though, on the other hand, is a little bit more on the anemic side. Thankfully, Vritra does at least have some survivability in her kit, so this is not a complete concern, but this is going to be something you're going to need to watch out for. Thankfully, with her being an arts unit, you're bound to have quite a few of, you know, really good and supportive arts units around her. So I don't think it's too big of a concern. You have kind of the best setup for that sort of thing in the game with arts and all of the options that it has. Her attribute here is going to be Sky Attribute. She's got only 88 star absorption. It's quite a bit lower than the standard Lancer star absorption, but again, this just has to do with her being an arts unit, particularly We also have a star generation of 12.2. Again, just kind of a little bit lower due to the fact that she is an arts unit. Her NP charge attack here is only 0.55, but this is actually pretty much the average, so we don't have to worry about it too much. And Vritra does have quite a bit of charge built into her kit, so this is to me not going to be the biggest of concerns. Got the 4% standard sort of Lancer NP charge defense there, a death rate of 24%, which is slightly below average, but still pretty much right on. And an alignment that is both neutral and evil. So again, if there's somebody out there that is an evil buffer, they can certainly give her some love. Neutral is a lot rare to actually be able to receive buffs for. Her gender here is going to be female, and you can see she has a laundry list of traits, so let's go through them. She's an animal characteristic servant. She's demonic. She's demonic beast servant, divine spirit, which is not divine. That's a little bit different. Dragon, humanoid, immune to pigify, levitating servant, non-hominide servant, obstacle maker, normal servant, 7-night servant, and weak to enema elish. So again, quite a bit of exploitable traits there. Vritra has very frequently been used as the antagonist in events, and just as sort of the punching bag for a lot of farming nodes. So it's kind of why I think they have her so frequently featured, is because of just the sheer amount of traits that she actually does have, so that you have a lot to exploit against her. Looking at her deck here, you guys can see she's not got the standard Lancer deck. Standard Lancer deck would actually be a second Buster card right here, but instead she's got 2 Arts cards and 2 Quick cards. So she's going to be a little bit more refund oriented and less hard hitting oriented here. Again, probably another reason for the higher overall attack stat. Definitely a good thing for her to have this here. Her hit counts, at least on the arts and quick cards, are certainly average or higher. They're really good there. The extra attack is also average. The Buster card is the only one that is below average at only 2 hits. But since it's the Buster card and there's only one of it, this is not that big of a deal. Again, Buster, out of all the card types, it can have a factor when it comes to hit counts, but it's usually the star generation that's going to be what's impacted by that. So we don't care too much with Buster having low hit counts. Now, taking a look at the active skills here, you guys can see her first skill is an increase to her arts performance for 3 turns and an increase to her critical star absorption for arts cards for 1 turn. So this is going to be 30% arts up at rank 10, kind of the standard multi-turn steroid here at 30%. Good for both, damage output as well as refund. And then the arts card absorption is going to at least allow you to soak any sort of stars to the actual card that you'll probably want to pop off with her the most with, given the fact that she'll probably have other supporting units around her giving her arts buffs. So again, this is going to make that arts card potentially even able to crit a little bit more, and that could be a good thing for her. All of this is on a 5-turn cooldown, so again, not too high there. If you do find yourself in a more of a challenge environment running alongside, say, like a Tamamo or something like that, it's definitely a good thing to have skills on a low cooldown. Her second skill here is going to be an increase to the party's divinity damage for 3 turns. Again, up to 30%. So it is a party-wide 3-turn power mod for divinity here. And that's really solid for her. Definitely one of her main niches, if you ask me, because again, she's not necessarily going to beat some of the other Lancers in damage. So the ability for her to not only do good damage herself, but also give and confer that niche to other people in the party to make them hit harder as well, potentially, is a good thing. And I think that's something you guys got to keep in mind when you start considering uses for Vritra. However, you're going to want to lore this skill regardless, because it is also one of her NP charge skills. And so you can see it's 30% base, 30% maxed out here. And then again, all of this on a 6-turn cooldown makes it really nice. Her third skill is going to be the Eternally Immortal Demon EX here. This is going to grant her gut status of 1 time 5 turns, so it's got 2 turns longer in duration. 3000 HP is what you'll revive with at the max rank. Definitely a nice thing there. But from here on, it's going to charge her own NP gauge every turn for 5 turns by up to 10%. So another skill you might want to lore. This one's a little bit more like up to you. You don't necessarily have to lore this one, but it's a good idea to do so because 1, it's going to minimize the cooldown, which is pretty long on this skill, and kind of up your survivability a little bit. And 2, it's going to keep you kind of going, hitting harder, since you also get 20% NP damage for the party 1 time 5 turns here. So again, somebody that can buff the party as well as herself here, I do feel like it's really, really nice that she has this. Makes her a pretty fluid looper. It also makes her able to kind of, again, support other damage dealers in the party. For passive skills, she's got Magic Resistance A here just for an additional 20% debuff resistance. Going to make it harder to land those debuffs on her. And Dragonkind A that increases her own Buster performance by 10% and reduces her damage taken, again, with a damage cut of 180. So kind of a unique Madness enhancement variant here. And certainly a nice one in the way that that's going to work. With regards to her append skills, I'm going to recommend the mana loading. It's certainly going to be good for her as, again, getting that 20% charge right out of the gate, combined with something like that 30% that she has, can cover you for already just turn 1, 50% of the charge right there. And that's up to you if you want to actually activate her skills earlier. Again, with regards to putting her in an arts comp, you can kind of move skills around, especially if it's a double Castoria setup. So having the mana loading out here and already up and online can kind of allow you to defer a Castoria skill till turn 2. So that may be to your benefit to do so, but again, it's up to you if you want to actually go for this first. It would be my recommendation, but you don't necessarily have to. Looking at the third one here, you can see this will increase her own damage against Avenger enemies. There's not too much actual synergy here, so I don't think this is a great use of your third append. The fifth append skill is obviously going to reduce the cooldown some a little bit, at least the first time of the use. This could be good depending on what you're doing with her. The fourth append here is going to increase her critical damage, but given the fact she's an arts unit, you're probably not going to be doing that too often, so it definitely depends. And then the first skill being the extra attack finesse can certainly help her if you do get a card chain, maybe off the back of an MP or something like that. So again, up to you to determine. To me, the only one that really stands out is the mana loading, but it's up to you if you have, again, additional copies of her and more coins to spend. The Noble Phantasm here is a 3-hit AoE Arts Noble Phantasm. So again, if you're up against 3 enemies in a wave, that's going to be up to 9 hits. Certainly can be a good amount, but we usually like to see more hit counts on the NP. Still not the worst thing in the world. This is going to deal damage to all enemies and then seal their skills for 1 turn. This is definitely at least nice because it'll lock down the enemy's ability to respond. However, keep in mind whenever you seal an enemy's skills, they're just going to start hitting you. So that may or may not be to your advantage. It may just depend on your current strategy and what you want to do as to whether or not you use the NP for something like that right away. But it is something you can still do. This is also going to reduce their critical attack chance by 20% for 3 turns, which combined with the skill seal will at least kind of soften the blow for that carding. So as the enemy starts to hit you, they're going to at least be less likely to crit you. 20% is not the highest out there, but it is at least a hefty amount. Again, with the way crit calculation works on enemies, this is certainly going to limit some of the enemy's ability to crit you. And taking a look at the overcharge effect here, you can see it's also going to reduce their arts resistance for 3 turns. Unfortunately, this is not before damage, this is after damage, so you're not going to gain the benefit of this in a conventional farm setup because it's going to apply to the enemies and you'll probably have killed them already and moved into the next wave. However, if you do end up against an enemy where it's maybe a little bit beefier than you expected and you lowball the NP, then again, you'll get the arts resist down applied for 3 turns, and it is at least 10%. So if you have any follow-up arts cards that can potentially help you, or maybe if you're using somebody else's arts NP right behind her, she can kind of be your setup man for that. So again, there are potential uses for this, but it's usually always better to have it apply first. So that way it impacts both the NP's refund and damage output. Still, definitely a good thing to have, and if you are in a challenge environment, you're going up against the same wave, the same enemies over and over again, you can kind of stack this due to its multi-turn duration. So that's, again, going to be kind of Vritra's kit here. Let's go ahead and let's talk about craft essence recommendations. So Vritra, we kind of had already talked about her NP charge rate here. So again, she can actually be a Black Grail looper. She can start from 0. So I'm just going to kind of recommend starting from 0 and getting the most firepower that you can, at least against 3 enemy waves, and to some extent even against 2 enemy waves, Vritra can pull this off. Though it definitely depends on what you're facing, and it certainly is something that you need to kind of watch out for. Still, it's going to be my recommendation if you feel like you're kind of a little bit, treading the line a little bit thin there on the NP generation. You can always either step up to more charge or potentially try to find some other CE out there that's, not quite Black Grail, but might enhance NP generation while still enhancing damage more than a 50% CE would. Any of those can be a thing. Vritra also doesn't have Invuln Pierce anywhere in her kit, so my recommendation here of something like Valentine's Witches would be really good. It's all attack scaling, so it's certainly worthy of leveling up if you have it in MLB. And again, it's going to ignore invincibility, increase NP damage by 25%, and increase the NP gen rate by 10%. So certainly a nice one, but it is a gotcha CE from the Valentine's event this year. So if you didn't get it, again, just try to look out for some other sort of Invuln Pierce CE. As long as it has the ability to enhance your damage, it's probably going to be a pretty good one. So that could be something that you could use with something like her. If you do find yourself in a situation where you need some starting charge, Ocean Flyer can be a potentially really good one. It literally features her. So again, it's also all attack scaling. It was a welfare from the old summer event. And again, you guys can see it's going to give you 8% arts up, 15% NP damage, and 50% starting charge. Worthy of level 100ing, worthy of leveling all the way up. So I highly recommend, again, getting it if you, at some point in the future, if you get the opportunity. But again, it's up to you to determine if this is one of the 50% you want to use. There is another one in the shop that's worthy of mentioning. This one is actually in the Rare Prism shop. It's going to cost you 5 Rare Prism copies per copy. So again, up to 25 for a full MLB of Fondant au Chocolat. But Fondant is a very infamous CE from back in the day. It is a 50% starting charge CE. It is all attack scaling, and it increases damage against divine enemies by 30%. So another 30% power mod added in addition to her second skill there. So definitely something where you might be able to stack the power mods and get a little bit more damage. It may not be the best thing to use on her in terms of damage output, but it's worthy of noting that this does exist. And for units that are anti-divine, this can kind of help them out even more. So again, up to you to determine if this is one that you want to buy, but it is a permanently available, fairly strong 50% starting charge CE. So now let's talk about Vritra's actual refund. So again, as we mentioned here, she has the 3-hit NP, and she has, again, 0.55% NP charge rate. Basically, if you're using 2 times Castorias with Vritra against 3 neutral enemies, so basically a 3 enemy wave there, you're going to be looking at, again, with only 3 hits of overkill, so 3 out of a potential 9 hits against 3 enemies. Basically, that's assuming 1 hit each. That's assuming you killed the wave. At that point, you're going to be looking at about 73.76% refund. This is kind of a weird number. You don't have to worry about it too much. Basically, double Castoria is kind of a little bit overkill with her in that regard, because even at 0 overkill hits, you would still end up at like 64, 65%. So in other words, you're going to exceed the 50% breakpoint that you would kind of need with her, no matter what you do, as long as you're having that double Castoria. If we start looking at 2 neutral enemies, though, so instead of a 3 enemy wave, a 2 enemy wave, this is going to mean 2 out of a potential 6 hits with the NP instead, since we've lost an enemy to actually hit. At that point, then, you need at least 2 out of 6 hits to be able to hit the 50% breakpoint. It's actually going to be 52%. So again, Vritra can loop over 2 enemy waves, so as long as the node is 2x, she should be capable of doing it. That's 2 enemies in the first wave, 2 enemies in the second, and 1 enemy, any amount of enemies in the third wave. So definitely something to keep note of is that, yes, she's at least a robust enough looper that she can operate even outside of the normal confines and still kind of start from 0. So it's definitely a good thing. By the way, just TLDR, those refund numbers that we put there do include the 10% refund per turn that she has. Again, it's just something that we're kind of used to saying, but something that we still kind of need to disclose. Let's look at Vritra's actual, again, compositions and kind of how the charge is going to work on her. In a 3-3x neutral node here, we can actually get away with Castoria, Proto Merlin, and Shu Fu instead of double Castoria. This is basically going to mean we're going to start out with the append, her mana loading maxed. We're going to go ahead and pop her 30% charge skill. It's going to bring her up to 50% right off the bat. Then from there, we're going to use all of Zhu Fu's skills, get her up 30% more, and then use the remaining Castoria 20% skill right there to bring her up to 100%. Going to fire off the NP. She's going to refund about 69%, kind of right there with that nice even break point of 70%. And then we're going to use the other Castoria skill. And again, you know, pretty much after you'd used the Zhu Fu, you probably should have rotated, brought in the Proto Merlin, used her arts buff there in turn 1. So again, that's going to get you that 69%. So you'll use the remaining 30% off Castoria, bring you up to full one more time, fire off the NP. Then from there, she's going to be at 69% plus the 10% refund from activating Vritra's third skill, plus 20% from Proto Merlin, and boom, there you go. You've got enough charge to do the NP the final time. Looking at the next scenario here, we've got 3-3x neutral again. We've got double Castoria now, though, with basically a fragment of 2004 as your Mystic Code. So again, this is going to be the NP Jin Mystic Code. So turn 1, we start out with the maxed out append. We basically pop her 30% charge. That's 50% right there. We're going to kind of mix and match Castoria skills here to bring us up to full. And then we're going to utilize the Mystic Code NP Gen here. That's going to allow her to refund 71%. She's going to have the refund to bring her up, or sorry, the regen to bring her up to 80%. From there, we're going to only need one of the Castoria 20%, or sorry, the one remaining Castoria 20% skill there. That's going to bring her up to full. Fire off the NP one more time. You're going to refund 63% since you don't have the Mystic Code ability this time, but you do have an extra NP gain there. That's plus the 10% regen there is going to put you at 73. So then the remaining Castoria 30% charge is going to be enough for you to loop. So you do not have to use something like a plug suit basically with Vritra if you want her to still refund. Looking at the next scenario here, this could be 3-3x neutral. Again, this one is going to basically be plug suit with double Castoria Oberon, just kind of min-maxing the damage a little bit here. For here, you don't have to utilize the append. You can just pop her charge skill there, turn 1. It's going to put her at 30%. Utilize all of one Castoria skills. That's going to put you at 80%, and then utilize the NP Jin skill to bring you up to 100. Fire off the NP. Refund 63%, and then from there utilize the remaining 30% Castoria and the 20% on Oberon to bring yourself pretty much to overkill at 113 there, and then you should refund back to 63% and then utilize the 50% remaining on Oberon plus his third skill to get even more damage output. And then last but surely not least is the 2-2x neutral scenario with Vritra. We're going to start out with her charge skill. Basically same deal as the prior comp here in terms of the charge situation. So again, you guys can see the only thing that's really going to end up changing are our refund numbers. Wave 1 here, we only refund 45%, but we have the 10% regen. It's going to bring us past 50. So we're going to still do the same allocation that we did before. That's going to bring us to 105. And then again, right there, we're going to fire off the NP the second time to bring us back to 45 again, plus another 10, bringing us to 50, plus the 50 remaining on Oberon. So you can see basically the prior comp was in both the second and third turns refund scenarios. They were overkill. They actually had too much charge. So now stepping down to 2 enemy waves because so much of Vritra's charge is kind of automated and locked in rather than refund based. She can kind of still make it work regardless of the enemy there. So that's why, again, you actually aren't losing that much, even though we're stepping down in terms of how much we're hitting. So it is a nice thing. She's definitely a robust and very adaptable looper in that regard. You have many scenarios for her that will work. Take a look at Vritra's actual damage numbers here. Again, these are neutral numbers, kind of in a vacuum. So it's just Vritra under her own power with her own skills. We're not including things like Mystic Codes, other support units, or again, basically any other source of external damage, just Vritra. And again, just neutral, not effective numbers here. So you guys can see at NP1, she's only going to be doing about 22k, but the Divine Power Mod niche there, kind of extending it up to about 28k. Certainly some capacity here. I do feel like Vritra could get a NP interlude at some point in the future, and it would not make her terribly broken, particularly if they did add some sort of additional niche to it that would really help her out, especially in the face of some of her competition, like we're going to go over here in a minute. So again, you can see still fairly robust numbers, but not the greatest. And as you start to move down the NP levels here, you can see it definitely scales quite nice. But again, she is a permanent unit, so this is something you might have happen kind of over time if she just ends up spooking you, or again, if you just find that you desire her and you want to roll for her, you can get the additional NP levels that way instead. Now taking a look at Vritra's actual damage numbers in a comp, these are still neutral numbers, but now we include things like Mystic Codes, Craft Essences, and support units. So again, 2x Castoria Oberon with a level 100 Black Grail and a level 10 Neo Plug Suit. Basically at NP1, you got kind of poodoo damage there on Wave 1. Wave 2, you got that 115, and then Wave 3, you're going to have 251 neutral, so definitely not too bad. And then we come in with the Divine niche, and the power mod starts to really help. Again, it would certainly be more powerful if it were super effective, but remember that her power mod is party-wide, so it's not just for her. It can also be for other units. So that's why it's not necessarily as beefy as some other units' power mods are. But again, definitely solid damage there, especially in niche, and at NP2 and in niche, it certainly scales a lot more. Down here, we have a scenario where it's Vritra with 2x Castoria Oberon, a level 100 Black Grail, and a Neo Plug Suit, but now it's a 2-enemy wave scenario. So again, the damage numbers are going to be a little bit worse, but certainly you're still able to pump quite a bit of firepower regardless. It's just going to kind of change the structure and the order of operations of things a little bit, but it's still a very viable setup. Now, let's look at some of her comparative units, some of her competition, people that basically people are going to look to compare Vritra to. So Ryoma here is going to be using a double Castoria Oberon and level 100 Black Grail setup with a maxed out Neo Plug Suit. You can see he's able to pull basically 301 there by wave 3. He's got, again, more kind of charge all at once in the 50%, and basically a little bit more firepower, but he doesn't have that extra niche. He doesn't have, again, sort of the automation side of things that she does with the charge per turn and the ability to break up her charge some. So he's a little bit more restrictive in that regard, but he's still another unit that can Black Grail loop. We've also got Summer Melt. Now, Melt is a limited unit herself as well, but she's a 4-star, so some of you may have rolled her quite a bit. You may have gotten her all the way up to NP5. She can also do Black Grail. The big story with Summer Melt, as always, is going to be the first 2 waves are not that beefy at all, even at NP5. And then basically Wave 3 is where she really pops off, both due to the synergy of Oberon with Black Grail, also due to the fact that this is when she activates her 3rd skill usually, which is a pretty robust steroid for her. It is a 1-turn duration alone though, so essentially you have to be a little bit careful with Melt in the earlier waves and hope that you have a robust enough one to be able to handle the content. Next up here, we've got Percy, and the advantage that Percy is going to have over someone like Summer Melt, and very similar to Vritra, is that Percy is a permanent unit. You can get spooked by him, you can get more, so looking at the NP5 is probably going to be a lot more viable numbers for him. And again, you can see he's definitely going to top out over someone like Vritra at that point, unless you have multiple MP levels of her. But still, even at NP1, his damage numbers are not terrible, and at NP2, they're already pretty much rivaling Vritra. So this may make some players think twice kind of about whether or not they wish to roll. Totally up to you. Just keep in mind, this has kind of always been the case. Lancers have always been a very competitive category, and the ebb and flow amongst them is very, very much, not set in stone. So keep in mind, it may be 1 buff for Percy or 1 buff for Vritra from this all changing. So it's just a thing that you have to kind of take in stride. We also end up having Breedomart here, and Breedomart did just get an upgrade on JP, if you guys will remember. So her damage numbers are certainly looking a lot better. She's able to do Black Grail looping with Double Summer Scotty and Oberon. And again, having the Writing, Writer, and basically the ability to potentially stack them in terms of niches is certainly good. Just keep in mind that while you could get Writing, Writer will not ever be effective damage, so you'll never be able to 2 times this amount, as opposed to some of the other units out there with their niches actually being something that they could take against an effective unit. Erish is also here as a buster unit. Again, she's had her NP interlude giving her the Earth super effective damage. And you can see, especially now on JP with the ability to get her 5th append, she can turn into a Black Grail looper. So it is a really nice thing for her nowadays, and something to look forward to if you're a big Erish fan, because this definitely allows her to pop off a lot harder due to that synergy. And this is kind of one of those textbook cases where you can just really see just how much of a difference it makes between a level 100 cranking, so a 50% charge C, and a level 100 Black Grail, and just the sheer firepower that it can cause and the disparity there. So this is why units that can touch Black Grail usually do a whole heck of a lot more than those that can't. So the second Erish gets to be able to touch that, Erish kind of catapults to one of the strongest AoE Lancers out there, and kind of deservedly so for a unit that has been at the back of the pack for many years. So she's definitely doing a lot better now with her NP interlude. Again, this really helps her out right here. But yes, in the future, she's going to get even more strong. Now, basically, we end up having Melisson, who is sort of the elephant in the room. You can see maybe why they made those changes to someone like Erish, because Melisson exists in this current form right now on NA. She still is at this point on JP. She has just kind of always been strong ever since she came out. Because again, she kind of came out there right at the same time as Oberon, and he just really, again, that synergy with Black Grail, with her being a buster unit, it just really helped things go crazy. This is just her NP1 numbers. Again, it's not necessarily the highest now, but it is still exceedingly high. And really, the anti-man niche is something that kind of any of the buster units can kind of use due to Koyanskaya's presence in those systems. So again, nothing too crazy there, but yes, that does mean that that Melisson's going to kind of be the unit to beat for the foreseeable future, at least until you end up where JP has with the 5th append system. So it is something to pay attention to, and that I think as we kind of come back here, rein it all in, and revisit, you can see Vritra's numbers certainly not hitting those same like upper echelons that some of the other units do. NP2 really shores it up quite a bit, especially in the divine niche up here against a 3 enemy wave. But it's not necessarily going to be the end-all be-all. It will still be competitive with a unit like Melisson in niche, but Melisson will still out-damage her kind of NP level for NP level, and especially so because these are NP2 numbers comparing to Melisson's NP1. So again, I do think Vritra's probably due in for an NP interlude. You can basically understand that if there were no other changes, that it would basically just be the same as taking NP2's numbers here and moving them over to NP1. And so you can kind of anticipate that, yes, like these would now be your new NP1 numbers. She still wouldn't necessarily be winning without some additional changes, but she would at least be in a much better state. And I'm not saying she necessarily has to pass Melisson either, given the fact that she is an arts looper and she is a permanent unit. But making her a little bit more competitive would probably help in that regard. So again, Vritra is not a bad unit, but Vritra is a unit in a highly competitive class, of which we have quite a few juggernauts as is. Vritra's main features are going to be the fact that she is permanent, and again, the fact that she can sort of buff the party with both that divine power mod as well as charge and NP damage. So it's definitely a nice thing for her to be able to do, but something that, again, I feel like you need to take in specific circumstances and know when to use her in order to be able to utilize her effectively. Let me know what you guys think about Vritra, and what change would you want to see them make to her kit? How do you think she could keep up and, again, kind of propel herself into a more competitive state? Be curious to hear you guys' thoughts, and I will see you guys for the next video. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one. All right. Yeah. What is class advantage? Can I eat it? It's tasty, master. Yeah, I mean, and that's like what I've been saying for a while now, is we've kind of just had some problems with the fact that like Melisson just kind of exists as this juggernaut. Like Erish is finally beating her, but let's be clear about this, chat. Melisson is winning. Unless it's Earth Niche. If it's Earth Niche, then she finally wins. I'm okay with that design, though. I'm okay with Melisson being the top kind of like raw damage and not having a niche, and then other units with a niche beating her. The problem that you have right now is, again, you have units like Vritra that even in niche do not win. They're not even close. So, and even if we were to basically make these the new NP1 numbers, they're still not even that close. Like, she's competitive, but Melisson's still the better choice. So this is kind of the issue that they have. It's just, again, basically you've got Buster synergy, you've got Black Grail synergy there with Oberon, and that's just really helping propel Melisson to higher heights. Again, we know they made her too strong. It's just something that I think they probably behind the scenes somewhat regret, but they also are like crying into, you know, their piles of money as they wipe their tears with fat wads of cash. So like, I don't think they actually care. I think that's kind of why they've just made her strong. But yeah, it's going to be better for the game overall if we do at least get someone like Vritra and NP Interlude. Hopefully, as they start to dust her off again for an A, maybe they realize that can be a thing here on JP coming up. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But yeah, Vritra at this point does feel like she pretty desperately needs it, especially now that like Britomart and Bradamante have gotten them as well. She's kind of the left behind unit at the current point in time. So hopefully I have to like make some sort of correction for that video at some point in the future, because I do feel like it's something they really do need to work on. Her damage has been on the lower side. Yeah, like, for me, she's a unit that I have like NP2 or NP3 on an A. So, like, I can still utilize her pretty effectively, but it is what it is. And it's something that I feel like, you know, you're going to use Vritra if you're just trying to do a multi-damage dealer setup, or you just want the ease of, like, looping with arts. But otherwise, you're going to sit there and you're just going to kind of keep going back to Mel. Pull down a pin for the battery. Yeah, sorry. So if you guys didn't understand how Erish's works, it's because this allows her to be able to function with a single Koyanskaya and double Oberon. So when that happens, she's shifting. And so in a weird way, you can see basically her early numbers are already kind of poop. And they're still kind of poop here. In fact, Wave 2 is actually weaker than Wave 1. So it's the concern with running a setup like this, because double Oberon setups are really good for Wave 3, really bad for other waves. So you do have a little bit of a fall off there. So you'll have to be careful with how Wave 2's health is. But yeah, like, again, if she actually has niche damage, or again has effective damage because you're facing archers, Erish should probably be fine in that wave, and she is just going to annihilate Wave 3. Oh, they're talking about Hoku. Okay, my bad. Does he spook me by trying to get Nero Bride? Yep. Yeah, that's why, like, it's a good idea to still make the videos. Like, even if it's not the rare gotcha unit, it's a good idea to still make the video, at least to, how do I put this? Like, at least to put it out there, because I feel like all the time people aren't sure of how a unit's performance is, or how to, like, properly use them. So it's why, like, again, I make these videos, and I know people are like, oh, all you do is, like, read through the wiki, and I'm like, well, one, I read through the wiki, and I try to provide it with context, which at this point, people probably take for granted because it feels like it's now becoming common knowledge about this stuff, where it wasn't in the past. And I feel like part of that's because, like, yes, I'm sitting here every video just talking about it. So it is a thing. But the other thing too is that, like, yes, I go through potential recommendations for the unit. I think the only thing I don't really recommend is command codes, because I get asked the command code question all the time, like, hey Cad, what command code works best with this? And I'm like, well, quite literally, since you can switch command codes around, the best ones. Like it's difficult to make recommendations beyond like the obviously like meta ones. So I don't really bother too much with those. Instead, I try to stick to the craft essences, which can change depending on situations. And instead, you know, just kind of focus on talking about refund and damage output and, you know, compositions. And I feel like, you know, people will watch the first part of a analysis video from me. They'll see this, they'll think I'm just reading off this, and they won't see the later parts of the analysis video where we put in all the work. It's really kind of funny. I don't know if there's like a way that I need to handle that. Maybe I need to do like a TLDR of like this segment or something like that, but it is what it is. Context is highly valuable. Yeah, I've heard people before tell me this, like, oh, well, you don't like necessarily put gameplay up on the screen. I'm like, that's because I do unedited videos. Like, I don't bother to do anything like that, just for speed purposes. But honestly, you'll learn more how to play the character from my like in-depth analysis than you will from just watching a random video that doesn't tell you anything. Because like you might be able to see it, you might be like, oh, that's what that does, but like you're not gonna like necessarily be able to grasp the actual like concepts with the character. And again, a lot of that just comes from years of using the units that I kind of know at this point. When it's a newer unit, I'm flying a little bit more by the seat of my pants, but it's relatively easy at this point to tell like when a new unit comes into the game. It's like I immediately know kind of like, all right, how does this work? Okay, this is probably how it works. And then like we start with a theory and we work from there. And I usually like I'll be talking with Avalon or Bob or any number of other people about like, hey, you know, like what's going on with the unit. And usually someone's out there like testing it and running it just to make sure that our stuff is like our theories are actually confirmed. Any ETA on Nero Draco or Tiamat release? That's probably not going to be until like spring of next year. Because again, like both of those are basically the Golden Week event, right? So like that's going to be your collab for the year, and it's I think Tiamat's the pre-banner, and Draco herself is the actual banner. I found your analysis videos more in-depth and insightful than most others. That's why I started attending your streams to begin with. Yeah, no, that's fine. Like, and if mine's not people's cup of tea, it is what it is. Like, I can't sit there and be like, oh no, you know. I'm not gonna say I couldn't do better with them. I feel like I could, but like, my experience has shown me that the sheer amount of effort it takes to make the videos better is usually unappreciated. And not something that like really is worth in the end. I'm not saying like there are people out there that will appreciate me going to the extra effort to like, again, like if we put footage and stuff in it. It's just that I feel like for the most part, people probably wouldn't care, and it wouldn't determine whether or not they clicked on the video. Someone said my name. No, I said Mob Bosses actually. Got in your opinion, would you say Draco or Tiamat are more valuable for an account? I think that really depends on your account. I think it depends on like what you need. Like for instance, if you have like a really strong AoE berserker, you're not going to need someone like Tiamat as much. If you have like a really strong single target berserker or something, you're not going to need Draco as much. So it really kind of just depends on like where your account is at and whose kit you value more. Everyone in this chat appreciates. I know you guys do. I'm talking more about like the general like YouTube populace and like why people click on my videos, right? Like that sort of thing's a thing. And like for instance, I hate to say it, it's probably not worth me actually like doing videos on like JP servants nowadays because they get so few views. And I think part of the reason why is because like everybody that cares about the JP units just rushes for the initial like video that anyone spits out on it. And they don't care too much about like the actual in-depth analysis side of things. And on the flip side, because I'm usually late to the punch. It's also just the case of I think there are a bunch of people as well that like they don't want the spoilers. So like all of my NA community that watches the NA side just doesn't watch the JP side because they don't want to like see stuff that, you know, like might spoil them. But I will say again, for anybody that's worried about that sort of thing, I never spoil with that. Like I never go through it in the sense of like how the unit's involved in the story. I leave that sort of stuff out because it's not worth it. And usually I will avoid any sort of like true name reveal unless like there have been a couple scenarios like with Barcast and stuff where it was like we kind of determined there was no way to keep a lid on the name of that unit purely because JP themselves were like, you know, parading it around. And I don't mean like the community. I mean like the developers were parading around the names, and so it became like impossible to keep that one a secret. Like calling them like Fairy Knight Lancelot and Fairy Knight Gawain, it's like nobody was actually referring to them by those names, so it became impossible. Yeah, when the game itself doesn't care, you can't care at that point. But again, usually the only spoilery material that I'll talk about is the unit itself, and I'm not going to disclose anything about the story because, to be honest, chat, most of the time I don't know the story spoiler anyways. How many upgrades does a servant need before you feel like you could redo an old servant review? That's a good question. Because, like, it's not something... I'm more focused on, like, covering them initially. Because, like, right now, chat, I started doing servant analysis 2 years ago. We are actually at 1 year, or well, sorry, we're actually at like 23 months of me doing this. And as you know, there is a 2-year gap between the servers, which means when I hit 24 months, I've done it. I've looped myself. So that's a big question. I don't know. I've started to think about like content again here recently and like some of the things I'd like to do. And I still got to determine that for myself. There probably are units that need it, but it's difficult to determine them right off the top of my head. Looping with no buffs makes sense, yes. But yeah, so it's like I'm not sure at that point. And I certainly, even within that 2-year period, I will have covered like every major released SSR. I will not necessarily have covered every SSR. I will not necessarily have covered low stars. So there's still a bunch of units that I haven't made reviews for. However, that being said, I'm also not sure that people actually care. Thank you, TBFX. What about Tiamat versus Tez for farming? Well, I mean, you're comparing a Buster unit to an Arts unit, so that's probably just going to come down to one, like, what supports do you have, and two, is the node something that Tez can farm? Because if it's not something that Tez can farm, Tiamat's going to win. Right? Like, just by virtue of the fact that he is an assassin and she is an alter ego, she has more range than he does. So it's like, it may be a little bit unfair to say, but the alter ego is better in that regard. I've seen people before say it's like, oh, like if we're up against like writers, alter ego is still better than assassin. I kind of disagree with this, but yeah, I mean, if we're including Tiamat in the conversation, this is a difficult disagreement, right? Like Tiamat is that freaking strong. So it becomes pretty difficult to actually like be able to rule out alter egos entirely based off that. But yeah, usually people overestimate because they go like, oh, well, assassin's like, it's not that good because it's like, it's got minus 10% attack. And I'm like, you're right. It also has ×2 damage, which vastly outweighs that aspect. And they're like, but alter ego has 1.5. I'm like, you're right, which again, it still vastly is outweighed by 2 times. So like, I feel like people have a tendency to overestimate alter ego damage in some circumstances, and it's usually, from everything I've seen, it's usually people talking about the subject that haven't actually looked at like data. They're actually just sitting there kind of being like, oh, hey, you know, this is how it should work. Whereas like I can quite literally like eye test it and kind of determine it's like, no, that's that's probably not the case, just knowing how the actual scaling in the game works, right? So a lot of it's going to come down to, again, certain scenarios. Like, you may still find a scenario where an alter ego out damages an assassin, but it probably is due to specifics of the scenario, or again, like having higher like level of a unit versus another. People overestimate the multiplier. Yeah. Question: how good is MASH R4? I'm trying to clear Camelot right now, and I'm not sure if my team will be able to clear the rest of it right now. My team is Artreya Lancer, Bardcast, Breedomart, and MASH now at R4. So when you say R4, are you meaning like Ascension 4? Or are you meaning like a skill or something? So forgive me, I'm just unfamiliar with the terminology if it's coming from another game. Is that a decent team to try and clear Camelot? So that your biggest issue right there, without even like seeing anything, is like, yeah, you're Urael. Like you're gonna need a really like robust lineup of archers probably for that. Having your Urael at 85 will help, but you might want to consider having like a backup option. Don't take my word for it, but you will probably need it as well into the future. So it's a good idea. I mean, I would tell you again, like, get as far as you can and keep going. But if you find yourself stuck on a certain fight that involves a saber, it's probably because you're archers. Ascension 4, gotcha. Yeah, and yeah, so like MASH is fine at Ascension 4. She's very tanky. It's just like your issue is going to come down to like having supports and stuff that you can bring in, people that can help keep your team alive, and particularly with some of the annoying saber fights and that. Can also be good to have a good single target saber. I think your Bardcast can probably get the job done at MP4 and level 90, but that may be a thing depending on how quickly a certain Lancer boss gets to the NP. I'm trying like not to be spoilery, but I'm also trying to like think about exactly who you're fighting in Camelot. Friend Support Super Ryan is your friend in Camelot? Yeah, that's definitely not a lie. There's also the argument of going for like MP3 Tiamat versus MP1 of Rider, Caster, and Assassin. I'm gonna be real with you. You want to know why I call that argument bullshit? Think about it. You're going for NP3? Okay. How much quartz are you going to spend on that? like you can do that, but if you're already considering going that high on MP level for a unit, I mean, it sounds to me like you're a whale at that point. And if you're a whale, why do you care? Because like you're probably just spending money on the game. It's like you can try to be more efficient with it, but Trying to really self-damage buffs on the neck in terms. Yeah. MASH bestest Kohai ever. Had a problem with the Lancelot fight. Yeah, so Lancelot especially has a unique gimmick where he kind of changes his actual affinity. So if you're like not 100% sure on how like the damage triangles in the game work, and like, you know, like Saber beats Lancer, Lancer beats Archer and stuff, like that could be a thing. Same thing with a particular Archer boss in the Singularity as well. Tiamat is legitimately a special case for alter egos. Yes, Tiamat is the exception, not the rule. MP3 argument only works when you already have it and got it accidentally. Yeah, and in general, I'm still going to tell you it's a good idea to like grab multiple units of like every single class, right? Like, but again, remember, this is something where like if we're making an argument between like NP3 of a unit and not getting NP1 of 3 other units, like this is a thing that you can do, right? However, I'm going to say in the long term, you're going to get burnt by not having any of these units. And in general, it's a good idea to spread things out should Tiamat somehow not be viable. And I know someone in the crowd's going to be like, but when is Tiamat not viable? And I'm going to tell you, just you wait. There will always be a scenario. This game cannot be beaten entirely by one unit. they've proved this over and over again, because there's always people that try to go out there and do that with like a gimmick build for a challenge run, and it never fucking works, because there's always at least one fight in the game that is basically the big middle finger. And I think the devs do that on purpose. They basically go like, this would totally defeat that one unit that everyone's using. And I think it's kind of smart of them to do that. It forces you to kind of spread things. More things to play around and have fun with. Yeah, in general, right? Tristan was a monster? Okay, so yeah, I didn't want to say if you hadn't encountered him yet. In P5, level 100, save my butt. Yeah, so what Tristan's mechanic is again, he like basically reverses the polarity. So it's like, if you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I am trying to hit him with a Lancer, it's like the Lancer's actually resisted and it's actually a Saber that does good damage against so it's really nasty with Tristan. It's one of the reasons I find Camelot such a fun like singularity to fight against. It's just their major gimmick fights, and if you know the gimmick, they're really like, they're not bad, but they're at least still kind of a fun fight. But if you don't know the gimmick, they're actually legitimately hard if you go in with like the wrong thing. Teamot is usually tedious to use against night classes anyways. Oh yeah, I mean, you always hear about people that are like, hey, I got away with like using Melisson against Sabers, or like, hey, I got away with using Tiamat against the night classes, or something like that. It's like, you can do that, but you can't do that in every node. And it's always hilarious to watch, is like, you'll notice like, again, so for instance, I have seen multiple Saber 90++ nodes, and I've only ever heard someone go like, oh, I can use Melisson against this node one time. And it is, at least in my opinion, one of the historically weakest 90++ nodes we've ever had in the game. So the fact that Melisson worked counterclass is kind of ridiculous, but it's also not something that's a common thing. Fishstars, whatever, in the complex 90++. Yeah, true neutral's kind of difficult to pull off in 90++. You can do it. It's just like, you probably need a like perfected unit, and it's probably not worth it. Like, there's probably a much easier solution. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, you can totally choose to go with like one of these approaches or the other. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I do feel like, so someone can ask me like, hey, is it easier to get like aren't these the same equivalent, right? And I'm like, no, it's actually way easier to get this than it is to get this, if you ask me. But again, part of the reason for that is because this might fall into your lap naturally, versus this will not fall into your lap naturally. You will actually have to devotedly roll for NP3 of her. Usually when you see people mention that for Mellow, it's for their 120 MP5 versions. Yeah, I like, chat, every time I make a comment on stream and I go like, you know, this is a thing, but it's not a thing. And like, I'll be like, hey, like, you know, oh, okay, well, like this kind of needs like, you know, like NP1 or NP2. There's always somebody in the chat that's like, but I did it with my blah 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 blah, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like you are the exception, not the rule. Every time somebody chimes in with that, they're usually the exception. So most of the time I just ignore that comment. Like I won't say anything. But we do have it happen from time to time. Like, again, I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm like, oh god, not another one of those filthy 120 NP5ers. No, nothing like that. Just like, basically how I always choose to approach it is that, like, again, whenever I'm talking on stream, I'm usually talking to the everyman. I'm talking to the average. I'm not talking to the whale. I'm not talking to the person that has the perfected unit that's like, you know, maxed out to the 9s and everything like that. Why is Ruler Arturia ranked lower than normal Saber Arturia on Game Press's rating for her? So don't take this the wrong way, Boston. Don't rely on Game Press's tier list. It is notoriously bad. Like, in general, I tell you not to rely on any tier list, but definitely don't rely on Game Presses. If there's any tier list you're gonna rely on, don't rely on Game Presses. Like, I've literally seen Game Press make very stupid statements about the performance of units. And it's wild because, like, I know Game Press makes really good, like, like guides for whatchamacallit, right? Like for events and stuff, like really good walkthroughs, but that's the only thing I use GamePress for. They're literally, and I say that I don't use it. I literally don't need walkthrough guides anymore at all. Because I've played the game for so long, I can just fumble my way through an event. I'm so used to doing it from JP as well. But yeah, no, like don't rely on GamePress for anything other than their event guides. They're terrible. I hate to say it, and I don't know why, but this is just kind of a commonality. I do understand, especially if you're newer, like why newer players rely on tier lists. I just feel like most of the people that run the tier list don't do good jobs, and especially in a game like FGO, usually we can make like any unit good. So like I sat there comparing Vritra, and the whole reason that I didn't sound like Vritra was just fucking awful the entire time is because I know with enough supports and enough like craft essences behind her, you can just pump Vitra's damage to really good, and you don't have to be a whale for that either. Like it's just a fairly like common thing. When is NA's append skill release? You're talking about the fifth append and the fourth append and stuff? That'd probably still be for a while. We might get it early, but they haven't said anything about it. Fearless are a little silly. Well, again, it's a collector game and there's no PvP, right? So at the end of the day, you don't really care. Like you just need to know how to use the units effectively. You don't necessarily need to know which unit's better than the rest. Like it can be good to have the best units, but it's not that big of a deal. Where to find farm spots? Yeah, I'd say like for general purpose guide content, you're fine relying on GamePress. Just I would not rely on their opinion on anything. I relied on my hubby who had played the game and got me to play it to know what to do. Yeah, I mean, generally you can ask normal players. I'm not going to say that normal everyday players don't have warped opinions of FGO. They do. I've seen some really like smooth brain takes on FGO. Like for instance, Moriarty Ruler is bad because he's not Space Ishtar. And you're like, okay. And you're like, that is self-evident, correct? But this just means that you like Space Ishtar. That doesn't mean that Moriarty's bad. Like, look at Moriarty ruling that guy stack. Yeah, like I said, you see some really, really like weird takes from people, but generally the community has a pretty good feeling on what's good, right? Generally. Avalon's favorite servant. Well, I think Avalon is just like me in that regard. I think we both have a chip on our shoulder about Moriarty because people shat on him and he was not bad at all. We just legitimately felt bad for the guy, right? Like, you see sometimes the community just gives units like a load of crap that they really don't need to. And it's, if I had to guess, it's usually a number of things. It's either somebody basically is peddling the idea that the unit is bad constantly, or you're ending up with some sort of like conflict of interest where, for instance, like the reason that I saw the Moriarty is bad because he's not Space Ishtar is quite literally because that person was just a Space Ishtar stan and they were feeling threatened by him. And I'm like, okay, like that's just an insecurity on your own part. It doesn't make the unit bad. Like, like I said, I don't understand people sometimes in that regard. Is Johanna good? So Johanna's never going to really be the best in damage, but she's really good for supportive purposes. Like she works really well in a like multi damage dealer setup because she's got some supportive, some damage, kind of like Vritra does in that regard, where she can buff the party and still kind of fire off an NP and loop on her own. So again, like to me, it's more about knowing how to use the units effectively rather than getting in pissing matches over who's better. I can certainly point to stuff and say like this unit is numerically better, and that is a thing, but I don't think it really matters that much in the grand scheme of things other than for like balance purposes. Like You guys know Melisande, Tiamat, those two, they're one of the, like, those two are the ones that I harp on probably the most. And there are a couple others that I could harp on, particularly like Kukulkan and stuff. Where again, like, they just are strong. And nobody can really deny how strong they are. They are so strong that other units pale in comparison to them at times. Those are the only units that I'm usually making a point of talking about in that regard, because I feel like the developers do need to buff them. I feel like the community does need to be aware of how strong they are, but otherwise, I don't really care. Musashi got a buff? Yeah, it's her 5th form. Cuckoo's demerit is the manual skill confirmed? Yes. It's like, as long as, which is funny because like the more you use Cuckoo, the less it's a problem, but it is an issue. Like if you just don't like tedium in your stuff. I do have that complaint basically. Haven't used him as much since I got Charlie, but I love using him. Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely use Johanna's damage, especially if you have good MP levels over. But that's why, like, sometimes you'll see us, like, defend to the death a character. Chat, I'm level 7. This is hardcore WoW. I'm level 7, but, things go slow in this. Hold on, sorry. I don't know why I'm fumbling around my keys here. Let me kill that. Let me get logged in. I'm in Tears Fall Glades. This is, by the way, chat, this is the way my mage originally used to look. So it is what it is. So again, you guys can see my health is up here. My buttons are all down here. This is the old school UI. My quests are over here. Technically my tooltips are back here, but you're not going to be able to see that because I'm in the way. My inventory is going to be behind me, so you're not going to be able to see that, but whatever. Shouldn't be too bad. I do need to get rid of my telestrator though, so that I don't accidentally press the wrong buttons since they share inputs. And that will kill me. Oh, I'm rested now. So you can see I'm rested about like this much of the bar, which basically gives me again, as you can see, temporary bonus experience. Only Fangcad? So it's really funny, right? Because like that is a thing apparently with a bunch of the bigger streamers. They have like a guild, I think, as far as I know it, but I haven't really looked into that too much. But no, like again, so this is hardcore WoW. If my character dies, he's gone. He's dead permanently. So it's not something that I want to deal with. I am at least in Eastern Kingdoms, but honestly, if it's just this, if there is no PvP was my biggest concern. I was worried that I was going to end up in a scenario where like, oh, I was just going to end up basically being dead because of PvP. So as long as PvP is not a concern, I'm fairly confident in my ability as a mage and having played it for as many years as I have to not die. Oh, also weapon skills are back, chat. So there you go. Stabs increased to 27. True pain is hardcore. Well, again, your chat's goal is to try and get me killed. Okay? Your goal is to try and distract me with questions. Forsaken is the right choice. Oh, it definitely is, because I get Will of the Forsaken, as you guys can see. So the big thing I have to be concerned with is, again, sort of like respawn. So you can see like the player had killed that, so it may respawn. And WoW has a dynamic respawning system where, again, I could end up just kind of getting screwed with repops. Mage, thankfully, is very good at getting away. So I shouldn't have to worry about that too much, though it doesn't have some of the later quality of life like invisibility. I'm gonna have to be careful with that. Didn't make the mage self-found. Yeah, I didn't know what that was. Like what? So self-found is just extra restrictions. I don't know if we can distract you per se. Oh, the more you talk and chat, the more I'm likely to read you, and the less likely I am to pay attention to what's going on my screen, which may or may not get me killed. You can transfer the dead hardcore character. Yes, I did hear that, which I think is really good. I'm surprised that they implemented that, but I'm happy that they did. You're gonna see me. I do have to be at least a little bit cautious and play things safe, but all that's gonna do is slow me down. It's not going to really increase my damage, really. Got these podunk numbers. I at least spared you guys the like initial intro area of Death Knell. Death Knell is incredibly boring because I don't have like any abilities. Original WoW only, or is it another expansion? Hardcore. So this is Hardcore Classic. I don't know if there's other versions of Hardcore. Chat would have to tell me. But yeah, this is basically just the original WoW. I had 40 yesterday. I want to off myself. I still have to kill grave robbers, Mongols, sorry, not Mongols, and get oh, I got a pattern. I need tailoring 40 for that. What the shit? Okay, so you can see I actually don't have mana at the moment, so this is bad. I need to never get in a situation like this. Being out of mana is tantamount to death, so I'm gonna conjure some water here. It's gonna take quite a bit of my mana, but then I'm just gonna sit down and drink. Because again, if I get respawns on me or something, I can easily just bite the dust. But mage is probably one of the safer classes to play. I assume that no, it's vanilla only. They don't plan to extend it to BC. That's interesting. But like, honestly, it's kind of good because I feel like in this very second you get to TVC, it's just very easy. And so you don't have to worry too much about stuff. It's an invalid target. That little bastard. Oh, okay. I thought he was aggroed on me. I literally heard the sound. Anyone got any Black Friday deals? So I'm going to be, and we'll probably go over this later this week, but I'm going to be building a new computer for Black Friday. So we can talk about that if you guys want one of the streams, and I can kind of go through it all with you guys. If you're ever curious to like build your own PC, it's actually not that bad. You'll see I lead with Frostbolt, usually to slow them down, so it gives me a little bit more time to cast. Again, as long as I'm killing one thing at a time, usually pretty safe. Not sure where my Rothhide mongrels are. I've only seen Rothhide grave robbers. Also not sure why I'm not exploring the rest of this. Mongrels may be at a different part of the map. We're gonna go a bit deeper in here. I'm gonna see if I can find another grave robber. Actually, this is coming out, not going deeper. Try hardcore, it's fun until you die. It really, like, so it's a kick of nostalgia going back to the old school, like, interface and everything. And one of the things that, like, going back to classic has really, like, made me feel is... Okay, aggroed. It's a Rothhide Knoll. I'm just gonna let him chase me. He will eventually leash. I don't give a shit. There's a mongrel. Kind of keep running for a little bit here. Making sure it looks like he leashed all the way back.
Isn't ready yet.
Okay, so this is already dangerous. Gonna kite some. Again, my mana is the biggest issue that I run into here. You can see me kind of just hiding, waiting. Thankfully, Mage is very good at this sort of thing. There you go. Easy. Don't forget to eat corpse. Yes, I can do that. Always forget about cannibalism, but usually it's not too big of a deal. It is a very fast and effective way of healing. But as a mage, I technically don't have to because I can just go boop, just conjure more food. Okay, so I got all the doomweed. I just need the mongrels. Leveling is very slow in OG WoW. That is certainly one of the bigger issues. That's why it can be difficult, because you have to like do extra things.
Need more mana.
I'm gonna try to melee him for a bit. Try to get my stats up again. You can see, I don't exactly have robust health as a mage. So like, I can't melee things for very long. Nova plus evocation carries mage till 60. Yeah, I need to get Frost Nova. Frost Nova's like, until I get that, I'm extremely vulnerable. I cannot over aggro, because if I do, I'm just not able to get away.
Still recharging.
Do it with BGW. Got no problem. So this guy invited me to group, give him a buff. And basically, if he kills stuff, I'll get credit and vice versa.
Too far away.
There we go. Oh, right. We need to share loot. You have Maggot Eye quest. I don't remember if quests are actually shareable in this form.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Oh my god, he resisted. Fucking asshole.
Mana.
Gotta get yourself a wand? I really do. Okay. I'm at war with the Scarlet Crusade. I've got the Chill of Death. Mill's overrun. I also don't know if you can, like, can you have mods, chat? Like, is there a thing, like, you can have mods for Classic and Hardcore? Uh-oh, caster. Little bitch. Don't you cast and run away from me. Like quality of life, UI, and add-ons? Yeah, I was more like curious if
I need to get closer.
if like there's like any sort of like quest help, because that's my biggest problem right now is I'm having to like do questing the old school way. Oh, this is dangerous. Very bad. Very bad. Friggin' lightning bolts hurt, man. I'm gonna consume one of those troll potions. Yeah, this is not good. Now I'm training. Should be able to leash him. Run? I know. Like, it's fucking hilarious, right? It's shitty little mobs that I'm having to run for my life. Common Murloc death? Yep. I know, man. I know how this shit works. Alright, I'm gonna pop that healing potion onto my bar just so I have it. If I went back and turned in, I'd be closer to leveling, but I wouldn't level. So I gotta at least get the Vile Fins out of the way. Yeah, that's part of the issue. So, like... Oh, no. Okay, no. They're not the higher level ones. Let's see if we can go around over here. Please no. Please no. Okay. Aggro. Feels good, man. Yeah, I happened to pull, and it was a group of 3 of them. And I've been able to handle a group of 3 at least once, but I have to be at, like, full mana for something like that. So I got at least one of them dead. That's it. Also, that feeling in, like, old school WoW, when, like, basically you're picking up Grays, and you're like, oh my god, it's an upgrade. Spicy meatballs right there. See, I don't like this. I'm in combat, despite not having hit those enemies. But it's a good thing. Mage is a very mana-intense class, but usually gets a lot of survival, and I can conjure, like, stuff for myself, so I don't have to rely on, like, you know, like actual food and water. I can just conjure my own. So it's always been like one of the benefits of Mage in that regard. Probably need to stay away from that log because that's where the triple group was, so if it respawns, I'm in trouble. My animal spirit is Murloc. Oh, okay, that was the Zeppelin from Undercity. You can see just casting usually is enough to like get me below half. Oh, that's Deeb. Wadib. Lisan al-Gaib. He's got a little fucker there with him. Alright, we'll try, but I may have to run. Oh, this dude's level 12. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. No. 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 I didn't pay attention there. I'm fucking level 7, chat, for reference. Muad'Dib about to Lisan al-Gaib my ass. He's gonna feed me to the Shai Halud.
I'm out of range.
That shit's red in text, yeah. Level differences are a thing. They vastly control how much your spells hit or get resisted. So it really kind of matters. You need to not try to punch above your weight too hard or you will die. As a male girdle. Like, even this dude, he's a level 10. I can probably kill him, but that's spicy, meatball. It's not as spicy as Deeb, but it's spicy. Nope, never mind. There's a second one there. Not doing it. Not doing it. You're doing more damage than your main? Damn. I didn't realize that you thought so lowly of my main. Yeah, it's wild. Like, this is just so nostalgic, actually, like, having to level the manual way, not, like, just bull rushing my way through everything. You can see, some people do group up for this. I feel like grouping up, though, is just, like, it's so easy if you do it that way. Like, you'll probably never die. Okay, this is gonna be spicy because I'm not gonna have the mana. Okay, that resist is bad. Because he's gonna be able to keep casting. I may have to use my healing potion here. Okay, there we go. I'm running out of room. Yep. Thanks to WoW GPT. Were you able to get the Fate visual? Wait, what do you mean the Fate visual? Oh shit, I totally forgot that was today. No, I probably didn't, assuming it's sold out.
I need to get closer.
Ooh, I don't like this. There's... You motherfucker, I heard that. Trying to spawn behind me, you piece of shit. I heard the... Yeah, like I said, I need to be careful about respawns. I need to just play this safe and, like, regen up to full mana each time. Because, one, it just takes me a little bit longer to do, and it's no skin off my back. And two, like, if I get respawned, I'm going to need all the mana I can get to, like, burst my way out of the situation.
Isn't ready yet.
Of course, he aggroed on me first. Behold bullshit, chat. God damn it, this is bad. Really? Oh, this is really bad. He's gonna get, like, probably at least... I don't know, he didn't get another cast. Actually shocking. I'm popping it. Not worth the risk. Hiya! Give me the fucking last Vilefin. I hate Murlocs. Jesus Christ. It is so, like... It's not worth the risk. No, it's just because, like, I'm so low level, right? Like, I don't have any real advantage or anything in doing this. They're also higher level than me, which is kind of a problem. I probably needed to go do another quest, but I wanted to be efficient. Okay, we got the Vilefin scales. Now that one's done. I have picked up tailoring. I need dust bat and coarse thread. Coarse thread's easy. I think I can just buy that from a vendor. I need to keep my eyes peeled for some bats. Literally, unironically, bat. Ow. Okay, I don't need dogs. Dogs are also fast, so they'll chase me down if I'm not careful. You know, maybe I shouldn't go tailoring. Maybe I should go, like, alchemy. I feel like alchemy and engineering is probably the best thing to do on a, like, frickin', like, one death run, right? Because, like, both of them are going to give you the tools that you need to stay alive. Murlocs are deadly. They always have been. Okay. There's another bat, but there's also another dog. Got 9 minutes left on my frost armor. Yeah, you're sure PvP's not a thing? Because I'm, like, terrified of it.
Need more mana.
Oh my god. That friggin' stun. Jesus.
Inventory is full.
I'll just eat this and throw it out because I think this is only worth like 1 silver. Or sorry, not a silver, one copper. Gonna start making our way back down to town to Brill there. It is a thing you just need to get flagged. Okay, so like, as long as I don't flag, I'll be fine. Dude, are like battlegrounds a thing? Do people actually like, are there psychopaths that queue for battlegrounds in hardcore? Because like,
Now.
I feel like that's just like making it inevitable. Like it's basically just asking to die. Okay, I can at least turn into that doofus.
This better be good.
There we go, we leveled up. That got me to 8. Oh boy, I didn't realize I could jump. Sometimes, I mean, at least they give you the tutorial stuff, but sometimes it's a little bit too late. I think I could have gone through that hole in the fence over there. It's always gonna be murder hobos. Yeah, I'm surprised that people would actually like I get like dueling. I'm surprised people would actually like full-blown PvP.
Speak quickly. Victory for Sylvanas.
Oh, it is 10 o'clock. I was like, wait, why is that ringing? That's why. It is literally 10 o'clock. Realm time. Oh, it's an East Coast realm. I didn't even realize that. I just picked it because there were only like 2 or 3 hardcore servers. This was the highest pop. Zombie skin boots. For cold steel gauntlets, this probably sells for more.
Trust no one. I am forsaken. Our time will come.
Battlegrounds aren't worth shit then, right? That poster only had 20 available. The unsigned one is still up. Yeah, it's not worth. I feel like only the signed one's worth. How much was the signed one going for?
What is it?
No, I don't want to be trained.
Embrace the shadow.
Embrace the shadow.
I have exactly what you need.
Meaty Batwing. Puts an enemy to sleep for up to 20 seconds. Any damage caused will awaken the target. Only one target can be asleep at a time. That's actually useful. I'm gonna save that. I just don't have a lot of inventory room. Where's the prodigal lich? Oh, wait, they're already sending me to the Undercity? I just hit level 8, so I don't want to do that. I do want to go, like, get my my training here, though. 430 signed by Takeuchi. That's not that bad, actually. I would have thought it would have been higher than that, so that's definitely nice. We gotta go upstairs in the inn. You'll notice my rested experience is already gone.
What is it?
Hello.
So he'll have a quest for me at
What
level
is
10.
it?
I think back in the day, every 10 levels you had it. Polymorph! Yes! Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get excited for a second there, chat, because polymorph is kind of a big deal for me. Also got arcane missiles, though that's going to be kind of meh. And unfortunately, I do have to drag on the higher rank of Frostbolt onto my bar. Basically, you learn multiple ranks of a skill, unlike current WoW. Have you seen the 4 Horsemen hardcore wipe? No, but like, dude, it's wild to me that people even raid. Like, I get it, but like, holy shit. That being said, I also feel like when you've leveled up characters in hardcore WoW, it's probably fairly easy to like continue to do it. Like once you've done it once, you can do it again type deal. But like, oh my god, right? Because at that point, I gotta imagine you've probably gotta have like multiple like characters like trained up and ready. Resist, really? Really? Oh, you filthy bat. Dirty bat. I'm low on mana. But again, not paying attention.
My mana is low.
Dude, those resists are killing me, man. It hurts so bad. It makes me paranoid about taking on anything higher level than me. Because every time I get resisted, it's like, it's so much mana. Everything's just down the drain. That being said, like, I guess I can understand a standpoint where like people gotta raid because it's like, how else are you gonna get good gear, right? Like, there's only so much crafting can do for you in Classic. So I do at least kind of understand that strategy. Has anyone ever told you never to run or race into the Undercity elevator? No one has ever told me that, but I 100% intrinsically know that from playing this game for like 70 years back in the day. Yeah, elevators in WoW are notorious. I'd be terrified of touching any elevator. Undercity is just a giant Mario Kart map for WoW. You're not wrong. You gotta raid to get the recipes for the better crafting gear. Yes. I can imagine, like, even just doing dungeons probably takes a hot second. Everybody has to know everything that's, like, already happening. And they have to research everything. And they have to, like, fucking be flawless. There's, like, no amount of, like, wiggle room. He's lesser level than me by 2 levels. What do you mean he resisted twice? This game is terrifying. What would the WoW Lucky 2 equivalent be? I don't know what Lucky 2 is. To pull you out of the water?
Too far away.
What do you mean? There's a potion for getting out of dungeon raid wipe, so you can get the fuck out. Oh, really? Was that always a thing? I don't. Is that like something that's unique to the new one? This is the Zeppelin. It's the Zeppelin. Ooh, I could go to a new area. Oh, never mind. I couldn't. It's leaving. I believe that'll take me to Orgrimmar if I get up on it. I totally forgot that's right here. Yeah, that's true, because I'm like right outside Undercity. Alchemists can craft them. That's what I'm like thinking. I probably need to be an alchemist. Because like right now I'm Taylor enchanting, but I'm like, it's probably not worth. Well, I killed all the bats. I need to handle these lesser ones. So I guess we gotta head all the way west. I gotta go basically out here to Saladin Farmstead out to this. It's gonna stun me. Oh, he didn't. Shocking. May she reign supreme. Flask of Petrification, it was always there, but it has use in hardcore. Use it plus exit group immediately. So what, you're petrified and then because you're not part of the group, it eventually times you out of the instance? Is that what kind of how it works?
I have exactly what you need. Victory for Sylvanas.
It petrifies you for 60 seconds? Oh, that's so dumb. Like, I get it, but it's like, goddamn, the fact that that's a thing that people have to do. I just need to create a bunch of bolts of linen cloth here, so I'll do that. Get my tailoring up. Oh, yes, the coward potion. I mean, hey, right? Like, I get it. Okay, hold on. I'm at 10, so there is a tailoring trainer here. Dude, I need these dust bats to drop their stupid fucking pelts, though. I guess the other problem, enemies just don't drop stuff consistently. It's not like modern day WoW where it's like, oh, you need to kill like 20 of them, but every time it drops. It's basically the illusion, right? You just get screwed by RNG. Sometimes you just get a bad group. Lol, sorry, bro, log out. They have first aid in hardcore? Yes, first aid is a thing. I'm like waiting to see somebody's corpse on the ground. Do you even leave a corpse behind if you die? Like there's no point to resurrection at that point. Like your character's just dead.
Speak quickly.
Brown linen vest. Oh, I will be able to get bags at least at tailoring 45, so that's
Watch
the thing.
your back.
Brown linen vest. Is this better than what I'm wearing? It is. I just need a coarse thread.
I haven't
and you
got all
sell
day.
none. Why do you sell none?
Embrace the shadow.
What is that shit? That is absurd. I know people run with Soulstone 24/7. Wait, do they? Yeah, I guess like Onks and Soulstones probably make some sense. See corpses everywhere, it's fun. It's terrifying. You're already dead? Well, I'm actually undead, sir. I know it's kind of hard to see here. Let me stop. I am undead. I'm going back to town to grab that real fast because that's like, if I can get that made, that actually makes it a little bit easier on me. Resurrection don't work? That fucking sucks. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I wasn't sure whether or not it did, but it is a terrifying thing. Like, none of this that I'm doing right now is very hard, but I also don't have any idea, like, what the, like, meta for, like, leveling in hardcore is. Because I'm sure there is a meta.
Beware, our enemies abound.
Guess I need to buy a second
Beware the living. Actually, I need to sell that. Now I have a better vest. Again, any advantage I can get from like clothing, I'm gonna take. Watch your back.
Because this, a little bit, I'm not gonna get like easy access to stuff. That is engineering for bombs and target dummies. Yeah, so I was gonna say like engineering and alchemy is probably like the best stuff that you can get. because like both of those are going to just increase your survivability. Like alchemy is going to get you a lot of like potions and flasks and stuff potentially, and engineering is going to give you a lot of like tools and gimmicks to get out of bad situations. Like I know you can get like nets and be able to like snare stuff. I remember using those on fucking Muru. People had to level engineering for that shit. I love that everyone's geared in gray and white gear. Oh, especially at this level. Like, I won't start getting, like, greens, I think, until, like, the teens. So it'll just be a thing. And I don't even remember, like... Isn't the first dungeon that you can even run, like, in the Barrens? Isn't it the fucking, cavern? God, I can't think of the name. It occurred to me, WoW's a 20-year-old game now? Yeah, that was literally the 20-year anniversary. Clip where a person's hardcore character died because of his gnomish death ray backfired and it damaged him when he's low. Yes, there are backfires on engineering stuff, which is kind of funny. Oh, dude, that's gotta feel so bad, where it's like, just the low odds of that happening, and it happened right at that moment. I say, if I get it right there, I'm gonna turn around, but I didn't get it. The real problem here is just it's a long trek. Like anywhere.
More
Wait,
mana.
you're yellow. Why are you aggroed? Okay, he's dead from that. Damn it. Of course he resisted. Why wouldn't he resist? Why wouldn't he resist? Gonna delay that. God damn, dude, these things do not want to give me stuff. Oh, thank you. Here. I'm a fucking int buff. Mushi Bao Bao. That's a cute flying dog. Yeah, dog. That's what we'll call it.
I'm out of range.
Actually, I don't remember. Arcane Missiles may be better. Oh god, it's the old form of it. It does a lot of damage, but Jesus, I forgot how that works. Bao Bao? Yes. I guess neutrals can bring other neutrals in. It's RFC and Orgrimmar? Wait, what do you mean RFC? Oh, Rage Fire Chasm, thank you. Yeah, I totally forgot that thing. What level is that? I'm not even sure I want to do it, but like, what level is that? In case I'm starting to feel psychopathic. Okay, so we got that done. I gotta do At War with the Scarlet Crusade. Okay, let's pay attention where I'm running. The base at Agamond Mills. I think that's up here. 15-ish? Okay, so I gotta make it at least 15. Beasts can pull other beasts, humanoids can pull other humanoids. Yeah, I'm not used to that. I guess like that way of thinking is so foreign to me nowadays. I probably knew that back in the day, but like now, games don't do shit like that anymore. You probably want to do hidden enemies too for the weapon. And Ragefire? It's so long since I've done Ragefire, I don't even remember. Actually, is Ragefire even available in retail anymore? Thanks to Khadroth?
And like all the sieges and shit. Oh. I don't think so. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Go, nice and easy. Let's conjure me up some more water. I'm level 8. I could probably get to level 10 tonight at least. Shouldn't be too bad because we're already halfway through. Need to rebuff myself. Dangerous, but why don't we go in there? Because there may be... Gotta love that single missile. There may be a, like, chest, and sometimes chests are how you can find, like, actual green loot. Khadroth said new renovation, yeah. I was gonna say, isn't that where, like, Siege of Orgrimmar happens? It's basically in Ragefire? Yes, I got multiple enemies in here. I'm gonna do this at full mana. Okay, got him. I like how they pop defensive stance. Oh, that's nasty angling. Okay, he nearly hit me. Actually, I think he did hit me. I don't know what's up here, so I need to be very careful. But I do need to be fast so that respawns don't happen. Falling damage is also, like, low-key gonna be, like, one of just the ways that I die. Oh, right, that's the problem with arcane missiles. Because it's a channeled cast, if she hits me, it just ends the cast. Oh! Dude, is there even anything of value up here? No. Okay, I'm going back down. I was hoping there would be like a chest or something at the top of this. There's just no fucking way I'm gonna battle, like, because if I pop my head up there, no, it's four ladies. I'm like, I'm gonna get fucking, it's gonna be a lady's nuts in your mouth is what it's gonna be. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to die.
I need to get closer.
Really? Please die. Thank you. Okay. So he's good. I've got one more inventory slot. Agamemnon Mills is the notched ribs and blackened skulls. I don't think I have the inventory space for this without like deleting something is kind of the problem. Fucking vile fins. Earthroot. Damn. Yeah, it's the other issue is like finding actual vendors because I'm so like low on all my crap. Could make another brown linen vest, but that's not gonna do much for me. Stay away from me, dog. I'm gonna try to split them. Means I'll aggro both. But they both hit me and they both get slowed. Thank you, freaking frost armor. You were the goat. Definitely not be going through the countryside like this because there's more enemies. If you stick to the roads, it's safer. Yeah, there's the mill up there. It's a rattle cage soldier. Probably one of the enemies I need. Looking to see if there's anything I can reasonably get rid of. It's a bone zone caster. But I better not use arcane missiles against him because they'll just cancel the cast.
Too far away.
Okay, got him right before he got that off, apparently. I can probably... Okay, so I got a blackened skull. I can probably get rid of my conjured muffins. I actually have other food that I can eat. Time to go handing quests. Oh no, I'm greedy. I shouldn't be, but I am. I like how I'm still sitting down as I do that. Okay, there we go. Roll of protection, hell yeah, immediate use. Doesn't actually help me that much, but I need it out of my inventory. Okay, so I actually got all of those casts off. It's gonna hit me with the second, which is annoying because I'm slowed, but still doable. Got a minor healing potion. That's definitely nice. I also only have to deal with one more of those casters, which I could go deal with him right there. Okay, he's gonna go after him. I don't care. Let him take him. You can kind of cast flip here a little bit over right. God damn it. I got another. I'm gonna conjure more water because I kind of have to. Armor Bonzon, yes. Okay, good. I was gonna say, if you freaking hit him after I'm already casting, I'm gonna be annoyed that I wasted mana. That's me trying to help you. I'm not, I'm trying to steal. But it's me trying to help him. Funny, the mages are all just sitting down drinking.
I need to get closer.
I don't like that I haven't gotten any notched ribs from killing these guys, though. It means I'm just gonna have to, like, keep killing them repeatedly.
Too far away.
That's not good. Run him around for a little bit. Cast the frostbolt, he's gonna interrupt. Oh, he didn't.
I can't carry
Okay,
anymore.
now there's my notched rib. I shouldn't have bought the other course thread! It's probably the chipped claw. Or the Darnazian blue. It's probably the Darnazian blue. It's just terrible. I'm not gonna get any more of it either. Ooh, nice crit. 1 copper each, yeah. Alright, we're done with the casters. Now I just need 4 more notched ribs, which means I'm going on a ethnic cleansing of the normal dudes. The cracked skull soldier.
I need to get closer.
Guess I gotta be careful. There are casters in there. You little motherfucker. Why am I dotted? Can he dot? How can he dot?
That spell isn't ready.
Bro.
Yet.
That fucking last second resist.
Is full.
Ooh. Well, shit. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna get rid of my conjured water. Or maybe the chipped claw. Yeah, I'll do the chipped claw. That is a new and improved back. He was secretly a priest. Yeah, I never really put 2 and 2 together. Alright, I'd rather not pull both of them. Re-up my frost armor.
I can't carry anymore.
Come on, game. Get rid of the patch of bat fur.
Inventory is full.
You can't keep doing this to me! Of course, thread. I hate it, but it is. Oh, we got 2 damage in. Yeah, let's go. 6. Okay. Again, gotta be wary of respawns. Please don't aggro him. Looks like he did. And then 1 more notched rib. Okay. And we got it. All right, we outie 500. Only thing I haven't done is Chill of Death because I deleted the item. Yeah. Okay, good. Those guys have Frostbolt. You don't want to try to run from guys with Frostbolt. I would have had to kill them. Devlin Mills. Play Devlin Agamand. He's right fucking here. I just... It's gonna require me to get rid of another item from my inventory. Oh. So it says lifetimes. You can't see it because it's behind Aurelia here, really. It says lifetimes reach level 60. It plays a cheering sound. So whenever somebody on the server actually makes it to max level, it's a thing. Trying to remember where I saw him, but I did see him. I think he was like over here somewhere. Don't pat. Okay. Sweet. I think that's him? No, I need Devlin Dagamond. The fuck is Devlin? One of the trees near the entrance to the farm? I'm glad you know, because I don't fucking remember. I'm just worried that he's in, like, one of the friggin' buildings. Oh, there he is. There's my huckleberry. Need him away from the other caster there. Oh, please don't go back, you asshole. Okay, got it. Funny, I turned around to go find him and he was probably right in front of me. And then a new plague, which is spider venom, which probably won't be orange for me the second I turn all of these quests in. Forsaken Dance? Oh, the Forsaken Dance is great. You're just literally rocking out. You are basically a mosh pitter. Ah! Cat's trying to get me killed. Ah. Okay, let's get out of here before I regret this. I've played a shitload of Forsaken. I mean, again, I played WoW for like 7 years. I quit basically in TBC, or sorry, not TBC, in Wrath right before, like basically we were a couple, like, I want to say like a month or two into Crusaders Coliseum is when I quit. So before Ice Crown Citadel came out, and again, that whole time, I played an undead mage named Khadroth. This is where my name as a streamer comes from. It is me reprising my role. So it's... And again, for years, basically, I raided at a, like, high-end level in WoW. You know, back in the day, it... Certainly, like, nowadays, like, all this stuff probably seems, like, so easy and stuff, but back then, none of this was, like, known and regular, and, like, Theorycraft was still a fresh concept and everything. So it was really, like, still, like, being on the cutting edge back then was still really fun. But yeah, like, raiding and MMOs in general have just evolved so much since that time. Like, coming back to this point, so easy now. Like, there's not that much you have to do. Basically, press buttons, be smart, don't be dumb. So it's like, for me, it's pretty quickly and easily able to be seen, like, this is where, like, fuck-ups are gonna happen and stuff.
Death. Farewell.
Cloth trousers. Yeah, I guess we'll take the 1 armor upgrade.
What is it?
It's not much of an upgrade purely because, I already had crafted pants on. Like you'll see. So it's like, it was an upgrade, but just not much. And there you go. I hit level 9. There shouldn't be any new things at level 9, if I remember correctly.
Speak quickly. Beware. Our enemy is about.
I haven't got all day.
Sorry, I just have to make sure I sell the right things and not the wrong things.
Embrace the shadow.
Embrace the shit show. Still keep crafting. We're at tailoring 15. I can probably learn some new stuff from that. I'm gonna try to take this though basically all the way up to like 20 if I can. Got it. Okay.
Better be good.
Wait, what? Bro.
Remember, patience.
You asshole.
Discipline. What is it? Dark Lady, watch over.
I have to go back and kill all the rest of them that I didn't kill. What a dick. Okay, I can't tell if this is upstairs or downstairs. I think it's up. Yeah. Zen actually has a lot of like people here. Okay, so that's crap. I wish I could tell which one was worth more. I'm gonna take the gloves because they're leather, so I'm just gonna assume that it is more, but it might not be. Keep their top spot on servers. Yeah, I don't blame them, right? I feel like that's just kind of par for the course with something like a hardcore environment.
Our time will come.
Like, people are naturally going to be reclusive with this stuff. Okay, new plague is now a thing. Death in the family is now a thing. Scarlet insignia ring. So it doesn't say like where these are, because there's definitely Scarlet people like over here, but there was already a quest that took me out here, and I suspect this is the follow-up to it, so I can't imagine they're wanting me to go back to the same spot. Like, I gotta imagine instead it's somewhere else, but I don't know. They drop from any Scarlet members? Yeah, so like, is it just the same spot that I need to go back? Or is it like, because again, like I know like Scarlet Monastery's like over here. And I guess they could send me that way, but so far everything is taking me north and west, not east. Oh, actually, there was a reason I was coming this way. Past the bridge. I was coming over here to see the tailoring vendor again, because, again, I'm basically, like, getting to the point that I can learn new recipes. I do have this red linen robe. It is a green, and it gives +1 int, so that's something I will try to make. But yeah, I didn't think about that. The elevators are going to be a problem. I probably need to go in the side entrance to Undercity, which is, like, over here, basically.
I'm listening.
Belt, boots.
Trust no one.
Trust no one. Except me. Of course thread. I need light leather? That's a problem. See, so if you were, what is it, the unfound or whatever, like you can't use the auction house. So if you're unfounded, you can't use like any of your professions. Like, because a lot of the professions are like interdependent. So it's kind of nuts in that regard. Like I guess like there would be certain ones that you probably could, but there's still recipes that you would not be able to do. Just purely because they rely on other players. Like, I get that it adds a level of difficulty, but that's why I never ticked it on.
because it was just like, it's probably not worth. Like, it's better to, you know, use it at my prerogative. If I have to use the auction house, I have to use the auction house. You can't level up enchant due to rods. Yeah, like, I feel like there should maybe be an exception for like crafted, like I guess for stuff for your own profession, right? But other than that, yeah, that just feels really weird. Like, I understand the restriction because it's like, oh, well, you can't just go to the auction house and just buy higher level stuff and improve your gear that way. That I understand, and I think I'll restrict myself to that as well. But hey, I'm not gonna like have any access to trade with players or go to the auction house. That feels oof, right? That feels like that's asking for it. Drops are enabled for this? Really? For hardcore or WoW in general? Oh, okay, so the Scarlet stuff's gonna take me all over the glades. I gotcha. Right, we at least know where one is. I don't know where Nisa. Well, there's fucking Nisa. That's good. There were like 3 enemies here before. She is high level too. What the shit? Okay, we got her remains. So we just need Gregor and Thurmond. Not sure. Is Thurmond like in one of these places, chat? I need to be very cautious about how I handle this. Because if I get patted on too, I'm gonna be just destroyed. I think that was a bunch of respawns. I got the fuck out of there. Okay, I know Gregor's this way, so I just gotta find Thurmond. Got any insight as to where Thurmond is? Marizug?
Out of range.
How's it going? Okay, one more. So Nisa was there, he's up there. Oh, that's not. Ah, there's Thurmond. Okay, so there's a lot of dead stuff here as somebody pain trained their way through, so I'm gonna summon that. Refresh buff. And drink. Oh. But yeah, again, mage is very much about playing keep away and just not ever getting hit. And if you know how to play it in that way, you'll be good. And so I've had to do this very many times as a mage. Like, I will probably go Frost for this, just for the survivability of it. Because, yeah, my damage might not be the greatest, but, like, I won't fucking die. And that's the important thing about it, is, like, if I lose my character, it's all done. So I have to be as like defensive as possible, basically. Well, Thurmond is not respawning quickly. Usually, like, named NPCs have a faster respawn, but sometimes they're just not. How are you doing tonight, Type? Start practicing AoE spells in Undercity is a good idea. Practicing AoE spells in Undercity. Wait, so why? Okay, so the body despawns, so I'll probably respawn soon. Okay, we got respawn there to the left of me. I don't like that there's another caster here. I'm gonna get rid of him. Will aggro you and kill you? Well, I mean, I would assume that would still require me to, like... Oh, there he is. Okay.
Too far away.
He actually controlled over to there. Okay, got him. So that one's done. Zealot and missionary. Yeah, see, like, that's not over there, because it's all warriors in the other place. We'll go run this back. Good. Leveling, kind of slow. Questy is an add-on that helps a lot with quests, show objectives, no maps. Is it usable on hardcore? Like, I assumed that you were not able to use mods in hardcore. After Lotto, I got so many experience cards and all my servants were max level except 2 for Lotto, so first time I burned 3-star and 4-star. I don't know, it's just like commit a sin. You shouldn't need to burn. Like, did you like stack your mailbox and everything? It is, okay. I didn't realize we could. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Because that's, at minimum, I want something for like quest help, because half my time is spent just trying to like find shit. Like, at least old school WoW did a really good job with their quest write-ups most of the time, but... I'd prefer not to have to read. No more space in the second inventory? Okay, gotcha. Well, like, just to be clear, Type, we're talking about the mailbox, not second archive. Like, you can stack your mailbox full of embers. Just in case there's any miscommunication here, I just wanted to be sure. Like, it's why if you look, my mailbox is usually, like, really full. It's because of that. Yes, Mr. Okay, good. Yeah, I was just worried for a second. I was like, oh god, I really hope he knows about that and didn't just, like, accidentally burn them all. I always try and figure out grails first. Yeah, like, grails, and I've talked about this concept before about, like, having kind of a trash dump, right? But, like, quite literally, you can view your, like, especially if you've got, like, a 120 project, you can view them as almost like a bottomless pit for embers. But yeah, it's like, if you don't have a current project or you don't have the resources or wherewithal to do one, like, it's fine. There's no skin. And a little bit, especially with 5-star embers in the game, burning a 4-star is not the most cardinal of sins, really. Johanna is a good support, but lackluster as a ruler DPS? Yeah. Okay, I can at least buy more coarse thread. Thankfully, my money situation is vastly improving. Where is it? I'm at 28 silver now, so I've at least got some staying power. I'm actually getting the majority of it just from, like, quite literally, just from questing. Okay, linen belt is better than what I've got.
And I can't do the pants, or sorry, the boots, because I don't have the, I don't have the other stuff. Be like, I didn't mind old school crafting professions, that I didn't feel like they were like boring, right? I know like some people did, but for me, I still liked the ability to, like while they were grindy, they were still like straightforward, so it didn't take too much to understand how they worked. It was more about just finding recipes. Whereas like now I feel like questing, or not questing, crafting is like really convoluted. Oh, yo. 8 wailing ancestors and 8 rotting ancestors. Captain Dargal. So that would get me a very nice staff.
Beware the living.
Ah! Just caught in the fucking corner. Oh, I wonder what happens if you get like stuck. I didn't even think about that, but that's like, there is unstuck, I know, but like...
Trust no one.
Ugh. Alright, chat, this is probably a good stopping point for me here. I can do other stuff, but I'm literally back in town and in the inn, so it's a good idea for me to log out. I only got 2 levels with you guys tonight, in all of that time. Welcome to hardcore classic WoW. It is a... like, in this amount of time, I probably would have gotten like 10 to 20 levels in retail. So like, it's kind of nutty how long some of this can take. But yeah, it just is what it is. So. Count starts the moment you pay. Oh, from subbing? Yeah. Alright, chat, let me see who all is on, who all we can give some love to. I'm seeing... we just raided Fino the other day. Anybody else? Yeah, I think we'll go send you guys over Fox's way. He's on doing some stuff. Again, I should be back tomorrow. We'll probably be doing the Santa Carna video tomorrow. And... I don't know what else. Again, tomorrow's Tuesday. We have Thanksgiving Thursday, so we're all obviously going to be having a pretty big week here in the States, but it should be around, should be on. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the support as always. Don't forget, subscribe to YouTube. Again, a PSA that I probably will be trying to set up a second channel for VODs and kind of moving the live streaming over to that because it is messing with the main account for some reason, but I got to get to that and I got to get it figured out. So again, hope to see you guys for the next one. Go give Fox my love and have a good evening.